All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? We have a really good show lined up for you today. Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. Padres Braves will get underway in about 90 minutes. Kevin Acee will join us at 3:30. Now, Darnay Tripp, who was in the room when Mike Schilt had his latest press conference after they were swept by the Rockies, Darnay Tripp will join us at 4 p.m. I thought Jim, by the way, because I wasn't on yesterday in the 5 o'clock hour, I liked the angle you took at 5 p.m. Seriously, I'm going to give you credit for something.
What I even say?
Which was like, because it's so easy to beat a dead horse with this Schilt press conference.
Really? Yeah.
But at 5 p.m., you're like, you know what? The thing happened. We've talked about it for 24 hours. Whatever happened there, whatever. They got a road trip. They've been better on the road. You know, you turn the script a little bit. You move the story forward. Because truly, we could spend the next 80 minutes before this game talking about Schilt's press conference from 48 hours ago. But at some point, that's not reasonable or fair. We've offered our 2 cents on it. We'll get it from Kevin as well. Coming up at 3:30. And real quick, Chris Hodge, who's been so good to our listeners, friend of the show, takingvegas.com. He's in San Diego. He'll join us maybe with some thoughts on Padres futures, PGA Championship. He'll join us coming up at 3:15. Locally, the story has to be Manny moving down. And it wasn't just you that thought he wasn't going to move down. I thought the same thing. I mean, Manny Machado, the $350 million man, the ego that we know that clearly stars have in baseball. And Manny Machado is one of those players. I didn't see it happening. It has happened before in his career. He has batted lower than cleanup a couple of times, but he's been moved here tonight. Not all the way down, Jim, but from 4th to 5th for game 1 in Atlanta. Your reaction to that?
I'm surprised, honestly. I am.
Me too.
Because this is what I think his second time. Kevin had the stat here.
He did it in April of 2023, one game.
Which is interesting because that was last year.
Yep.
And we're almost at the same time.
Correct.
A little
You're right.
bit.
It was about 3 weeks in. He was struggling.
And because he was struggling.
Yep.
But where is the stat? Because he had it here.
Twice in 9 years, right?
Twice in 9 years. Yeah.
The first time since, I think it's April 27th last year.
Machado's second time in the past 9 seasons batting lower than 4th.
Yeah.
So if anybody out there is like, Jim, I can't believe you didn't think that. Well, because you never see it.
1,000 games. He's done it one time.
Like you never see Manny go below the 4 spot in the lineup. And it is interesting because I just didn't expect it. Like I thought that with a lefty on the mound today, you're probably just going to try to like continue hammering home. All right, we're going to get going. We're going to get going. We're going to get going. And I don't know really what purpose it serves to have Manny hit like lower in the lineup, like 6th, 7th, 8th, like a lot of people were advocating for the other day. 5th, I can understand. Xander's already been hitting 6th for a little while now.
Some would argue 5th is the best run producing spot in the lineup. It's not like a bad spot to be hitting in traditionally.
But the problem is, it's like he's not when he's up there at the plate with runners in scoring position, he's still not getting it done.
Correct.
So if the best spot in the lineup to drive runs in is 5th, well, he's not getting it done. So it's like you got to change. Something's got to change with that. And it's just when you say that this lineup right now is built around Jurickson Profar and Jake Cronenworth. Man, I did not think we were gonna be here on May 17th.
And remember a year ago they go to Atlanta. It was very early, and before we knew they weren't good, the Padres.
Yeah,
remember it was almost like fool's gold. They won 3 of 4.
Remember
in April,
second week of the season.
It was great, and we're like, wow, the Padres have a chance to be pretty good. That's a really good series win, and it was. So you now fast forward a year, and they're in Atlanta. You guys talked about it yesterday, and I thought it was really interesting. I didn't realize it. Atlanta's 15-5 at home. They're minus 215 favorites tonight. The Padres are not typically 2-1 dogs to anyone, but like you said in your update, Max Fried, Matt Waldron is not. It doesn't give you a lot of hope. Now, Padres again on the road have played some really good baseball. I think they've proven some people wrong before on the road. But this 5th spot, Jim, in the rotation, and it's not just because of the pitching. I don't think they've scored a lot for that 5th spot, whether it's Vasquez or Waldron. It's really done them in. I mean, their top 3-4 starters, the win-loss record of the team those days is good. This 5th spot, they just can't win out of it.
They have won one Waldron start this year.
I think it's one Waldron and Vasquez start combined, I think.
They, as a team, are second worst in all of baseball against left-handed pitching, batting average-wise.
Hitting 200, right?
Well, under 200.
Are they? Against left-handed pitching?
197.
Wow.
They're below 200, I know that.
Wow.
I think the only team that's worse than them is the Cardinals.
Wow.
And
it's Mike Schilt's fault.
You know, you're not doing a lineup today of usually what you see when a lefty's on the mound with Jackson out of the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
The only non-regular that's in there is Kyle Higashioka because of Waldron.
Yep.
So tonight's going to be very interesting. It'll be very, very interesting because you're going up against one of the best lefties in baseball versus a team that is really good at home with arguably not your worst pitcher on the mound, but the pitcher that when he's on the mound, your team does not win games. So
and you don't have left-handed pitching,
and you've now moved Manny down in your lineup because he is, struggling mightily. Xander's hitting sixth. It's gonna be a very interesting thing to see if they can actually pull this one off tonight because everything is stacked against them. Everything.
It is so true, but that's sometimes in baseball the time that it's baseball. Like, all of a sudden you win a game 8-0. Yeah. I mean, we'd love to see it, but to your point, Machado lifetime against Fried, 1 for 12. Bogarts lifetime against Fried, 1 for 5. Like, yeah, this is it. Again, like you said, all the numbers. It's almost surprising to me the Padres aren't a more significant dog. That's how all the numbers tonight favor Atlanta. And I agree with what you were contemplating yesterday. Hey, do you take 3 and 4? Can you get 4 and 3? And of course, the path to 4 and 3 to me on this trip is simplistic to say. Split these 4, easier said than done. They're 15 and 5 at home. Right. Get 2 out of 3 in Cincinnati. Now, there's another path to it. You could even just get 1 in Atlanta. You wouldn't be feeling great. You'd be 4 games under 500, then go to Cincinnati and somehow sweep a series, something the Padres haven't done this year. I wouldn't have any faith in a 4 and 3 trip if you start 1 and 3. I'm going to say, oh, here come the Reds. We're about to sweep them in Cincinnati. So, is there a realistic path to a 4 and 3 trip for the Padres?
Well, we also were pretty confident after taking 2 or 3 from the Dodgers that they were going to have a winning homestand for the first time in a while.
100%.
And it didn't happen. They went 2 and 4. They're a much better road team than a home team, like way better. And you look at all the numbers, their offense is better on the road. Their win-loss record's better on the road. Certain players just are simply better on the road
right.
than they are at home.
Jackson Merrill.
That's one of them. And so I would hope that those numbers stay true, because if they do, then you're looking at, you have opportunities this road trip to feel good about yourself when you come home next weekend and you take out the Yankees for my wedding weekend.
Yes. I mean,
that's why they're playing the Yankees. It's because it's my wedding.
Because it's your wedding and you just wanted to, miss the biggest series of the year with Juan Soto's return.
And no big deal.
I mean, it's way too far to be like it's making or breaking your season.
It's not.
Even with the Rockies series, but it's also not too far to say that it is of significance, because if you do have the quote unquote typical trip and you lose, like Atlanta's really good. They've won 3 or 4 at home on average. So if you lose 3 out of 4 to Atlanta, what are you thinking, Padres fans, about the state of the team? You're 4 games under 500. Like, you wouldn't be feeling that good about it. Again, it's not making or breaking, but at some point you got to avoid Jim falling 5-6 games under 500.
Because it's not like, if we had a 3 and 4 road trip, we come home, we're now 3 games under 500.
Yankees are here. That's not easy.
Then the Yankees come to town. The Yankees are one of the best teams in baseball.
They are.
I think they're beating the Twins today. And the Twins are also one of the best teams in baseball, because I didn't even know they were as good as they were. So it would behoove them to have a pretty decent road trip, because you come home and boom, right away, it's Juan Soto, Yankees, and you don't play well at home. And the Yankees have a great offense. They have the best bullpen in all of baseball. And that could be a problem. So if you get to the end of this month and you look up, they ended last month, 3 games under, 2 games under?
It's something like that. Yeah.
You end this month and then you're farther away from 500. Like, that's a real possibility if they don't play well in this road trip. If they go 3 and 4, I don't think that's like the end of the world, but it's also not great. And if you go, heaven forbid, worse than that, then after this month, you're going to be looking up here and like, oh, this is a problem. And especially because our guys aren't hitting and we can't win at home. It's like,
well, do you think they have to here? Do you think that this is kind of like hey, go prove it to us, Padres, based on, I everything that Mike Schultz said Wednesday about We weren't outplayed.
Yeah.
And whatever he said. See, right, the sky isn't falling in here. He wasn't the only one to say that. I think Manny Machado backed that up. The sky isn't
We said it too. The sky's not falling.
And it's not falling. But is this the type of series where you kind of need to prove your mettle, show that you are better than 2023? I hate when 2024 resembles 2023, and it's happening a little too much, more than I thought it was going to, truthfully. The 5-game losing streak, the series sweep at the hands of the Rockies. Like, you got to prove you're not 2023 for me, or all of a sudden it's going to be 2023 again.
They're inconsistent. As much as Mike Schilt wants to push back on that, the record is all that matters, Mike. It's all that matters. And you are inconsistent. You played good baseball for the last, 2.5 weeks, and then you essed the bed against the Rockies. That's not consistent baseball. You can lose series. I'm not saying that this team can never lose series. But from playing really good baseball up until Monday and then just completely flipping that switch and coming out completely flat versus the Rockies, that's going to bite you in the end. The same thing happened in April. You were playing some pretty decent baseball. You lost the series to the Blue Jays, and then you got swept at home by the Phillies, and you lost 5 in a row, dating back to that game in Colorado on that Thursday where you blew a 5-run lead in the 8th inning.
And you said yesterday, and you're spot on. And what about the consistency that Mike Schilt is preaching? Actually, isn't consistency, because you've had a 5-game losing streak. You've been swept by the Rockies.
That's not consistent.
And in between there, you won series, but that actually proves the point that you haven't been consistent. You've had ups and you've had downs, and maybe that's inevitable over 162. But if Mike wants to harp on the 4 games of the 4 series streak, which I'm fine with, then I'm allowed to harp on 22 and 24.
Yes.
That's fair game. What's more true, 22 and 24, or they won 4 series in a row? What matters more is 22 and 24.
Yeah.
And by the way, if they were 24 and 12, Jim, and they lost the series, then I'd back Schilt.
Yep.
Like, we're 24 and 12.
Yeah.
Who cares about the series lost to the Rockies? He'd be right because of the body of work.
So it's I can't stress enough how whenever you hear from Schilty about the process and hard hit balls and walking as a staff only 4 hitters in a 3-game series, and you ran the bases well and you played good defense.
The walks, like
the
you just
walks,
said,
here's the thing, Mike. Did you win or did you lose? You could have the messiest, sloppiest series
so true
in the world. You could walk 30 guys in a series. That would probably be crazy to do and win it, but still.
No, you're right. It's possible.
You commit errors left and right.
Yeah.
And if you win that series, that's all that people care about. So results are great. The process is great, but if the results don't match the process, none of it matters.
Let's not bury the lead. Chris Hodge, TakingVegas.com, with us here in studio. As a lot of our listeners and viewers on YouTube know, Chris has been so unbelievable for our listeners over the years. So supportive, by the way, of the station, some of the causes we do, some of the causes we support, like our Rady Children's Give-a-thon. Chris has been a big giver the last couple of years to that. He's in town. And Chris, it is great to see you. I have this from Dom. You are here because you're coaching a New York first responders football team that's playing a San Diego team at Mesa College tomorrow. I feel like when we saw you here last year, it was May gray, or it was overcast as well. You're back. You brought the gray, but it's good to see you, man.
It's gray outside.
My fault.
How are you, man?
I'm good to see you. It's a pleasure to meet you. Yeah, here with the New York City football team, New York City Boldest. We're playing the San Diego Enforcers tomorrow at 2 local time, so hopefully we beat them. I think we'll be all right, but yeah, that's what we're here for.
All right, so this August, football returns, college, NFL. You're back with us, San Diego Sports 760, Taking Vegas. A lot of our listeners, like if you've been with us for years, you know, Chris has had some of the most remarkable winning streaks as a handicapper anyone's ever had on radio.
That Thursday night winning streak was
10 or 11.
It was almost
unbelievable.
It was almost detrimental.
Almost to the point where it's like, I need to lose because we've done
11 straight games and people don't believe it.
So you can hear Sports Investors Daily here on San Diego Sports 760. We'll have you on every single week talking about TakingVegas.com. I know we're not yet at football season. You're a big baseball guy.
Yep.
Are you here to thank us for Juan Soto? That's why you're here, right?
You know, I wasn't going to go there, especially my boy Dom here. I wasn't going to go there. But
go there.
Listen, did the Padres just do the most Padres thing ever? Like they won 2 out of 3 against Chicago and Arizona and the Dodgers,
Yes.
and then get swept by Colorado.
Oh, trust me, we live it every day. Yeah,
Is that like the most Padres thing ever?
We're trying to get away from the Padreing of this team, and hopefully they can start not doing those things. But yeah, Yankees will be in town in a couple of weeks, and that's the return of Juan Soto. Yankees are like one of the best teams in baseball right now.
We're playing well.
Yeah, playing well.
They're really the only team that I actually root for in sports. I mean, I like what the Rangers are doing right now in hockey. That's great. The Knicks, you're just waiting for them to blow it.
Whoa. Are you a Knicks fan?
I am a Knicks fan.
Okay, so they're up 3-2.
Yes.
And how nervous? I mean, you got to be like Darren Smith, who is on from 12 to 3 with us. He's a huge Knicks fan as well. He is always like kind of doom and gloom. Are you the same way just because it's like ingrained in you as a Knicks fan?
You know, and you guys probably have this with the Padres too. It's just you're waiting for the next thing to happen and just something goes wrong. And with the Knicks, look, I'm on the plane last night and I'm watching the Rangers game. And my wife is texting me. I'm like, they're going to lose this game. They're going to end up losing this series and blowing a 3-0 lead.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with the Knicks. It doesn't really matter if they win this series or not because they're not beating Boston, nor is Indiana. So it's not even worth overly getting excited about. Boston's coming out of the East. But you know, when you get to watch your favorite basketball team play in a few more games, it's always fun. Gives you something to do at night.
All right, so Chris Hodge, takingvegas.com, in studio with us for a few more minutes. Again, he'll be back with us all fall long, getting you ready for NFL and college football. Great to have him back with us on San Diego Sports 760. For our listeners, talking baseball, any thought, like, okay, so here are the Padres, 22-24. Here we go again. If the season ended now, I mean, it's not like they're far out of a playoff spot. They may even be like a final playoff spot in the National League. Is there any value with anything Padres related as a play, looking out like a futures play involving the Padres or not in your opinion?
Well, right now, if the season ended, they're the last team in. So, and right now they're plus 150 to make the playoffs. So the thing you have to deal with there is, you know, they're not better than the Dodgers. Let's just call a spade.
No doubt.
They're not better than them. They're not better than Atlanta. They're not better than Philadelphia. Okay. But I believe they're better than Arizona, and I believe they're better than Chicago. So, you know, you have Milwaukee right there leading the Central Division. So at 150, that might not be a bad bet for them to just get into the playoffs. I think they're a game under 500 in their division. I think they're one game under with the division games. Yeah. But look, they just beat the Dodgers 2 out of 3. They beat Arizona 2 out of 3. So, you know, what is it, about 115 games left? I think plus 150 now to win the NL pennant. They're 20-1 to win the World Series. They're 45-1. Probably not great, but I'll tell you what. Right now, the Phillies at 10-1. You know, which one is from Philadelphia? I know someone's from Philadelphia.
Well, kind of both of us now, because Jim's marrying a girl next week from Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm pretty much now. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so the Phillies at 10-1. If you look at their pitching staff is really good. Nola, Suarez, Wheeler. Yeah. They have a really good pitching staff. Walker is their worst pitcher, and he's earned run average is like 4 right now. Right. So I think the Phillies could be a problem in the NL, and at 10-1 to win the World Series, I think that's pretty good value.
So you're in town for just this weekend, right?
Yes.
What's like your favorite thing to do when you come to San Diego? Because you've been here a couple times, and you know, you haven't maybe explored maybe places that you want to probably explore. But like for you, when you come to San Diego, like you brought the Greg in with you. But I mean, what's like your thing that you want to do when you're here?
Well, you guys were very generous last year. You know, you gave me great tickets to the Padres game. And that, I think it was you who asked me, you know, compare that stadium to other stadiums.
Yeah.
That stadium was phenomenal.
Yeah,
I thought that stadium was really, really
And they just
nice.
Upgraded it too. They built a whole new outfield Gallagher Square area.
Yeah.
My wife and I had a lot of fun going to that game. But unfortunately, the times I've been out here, I don't know. I don't know if people lie to me. I don't know. But everyone says San Diego has such great weather.
Yeah.
What's going on? Like, I have not seen a nice day.
Were you here last year at time in May?
Yeah, it was raining the whole time. You can see the sun.
There's some unwritten rules.
There is.
That people like. First of all, Jim got mad at me about this. So Jim is truly getting married in a week.
Oh yeah.
But like, I think there's kind of like an unwritten rule. Like if you're there's May gray and there's June gloom, which is a long time. It's like what do you mean? It's 2 months of bad weather in America's finest. May gray. He's like, dude, don't put that out there. I'm like, he's like, didn't even know about May gray. He's been here for 15 years.
I know May gray. You're like, what if it rains? I'm like, shut up.
No, not rain.
Don't say anything.
Not rain. But I'm telling you, you get here July 1st. and you got the exact same weather for 4 or 5 straight months.
Yeah,
right.
it's
July,
crazy.
August, September, October into November before it gets cooler.
Now
but
you're the Jim. You're the San Francisco fan, right?
I am,
and
yes.
your wife, your fiance, is the Eagles fan, right?
She is, yeah.
That's a great job by you two because I don't know how that works. I mean, that's
Look,
a really great job.
The only fight that we've ever had in 2+ years.
Sure.
It wasn't even a fight. It was just kind of like a argument where we just didn't talk to each other. Was the NFC title game versus
2
the
years
Niners
ago.
2 years
Purdy
ago.
got hurt.
When Purdy got hurt.
So you had the excuse,
Yeah.
right? And the Eagles shouldn't even be there, right?
Yeah,
but she was singing like "Fly Eagles Fly" in front of them, and they're down like 30-0.
Yeah,
and they have like a running back as their quarterback.
What we did real quick, we were in 2 different places. She was watching it with her friends at their house. I was watching it at our house because we didn't want to be together. And during the first touchdown of the game, we have a little dog camera in our house, and all of a sudden the dog camera starts playing "Fly Eagles Fly" on it. And
that's rough.
I'm like, what is happening? Wow. And it wasn't her idea. It was like one of our friends' idea because he's also a Phillies fan and an Eagles fan. And I lost my mind because then after that happened, it was like Purdy gets hurt. They're Chris McCaffrey's their quarterback. They're down 30-0 at halftime.
It's like Josh Johnson.
Yeah, Josh Johnson's in there. It was not fun, but
Chris, amazing seeing you. Hopefully get a win tomorrow. Again, your first responders football team taking on the San Diego Enforcers. Mesa College, you'll be back with us again this fall. Chris Hodge has been amazing for our listeners. TakingVegas.com. We'll have his daily show or the weekly show, Sports Investor Daily. Getting back here in August. But Chris, great to see you, man. Great to catch you up. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you guys for having me on. You guys are great.
You're great. All right. So Chris Hodge has been great for our listeners. You'll be hearing a lot of him come August. On the other side, Kevin Acee, our Padres insider from Atlanta. Stay with us. All right, so you're on the go. You're doing a million things over the course of your day, right? And you're getting hungry in the middle of the day. And it's so easy to eat unhealthy when you're hungry in the middle of the day. Look no further than Almond RX packs, all right? You can eliminate the vending machine from your day. You're getting a daily immunity booster. You're getting vitamin D. It's a healthy snack, but it's a tasty snack. Take it from me and my wife and my 5-year-old son. It curbs hunger. It's really an amazing product. The first and only skinless almond fortified with vitamin D. You get your daily serving of 23 almonds. It's founded by a San Diego sports medicine physician, packed with nutrients, everything you need, supporting your heart health, cellular health, gut health. You can find them right here in San Diego. Any Foodland in San Diego County has them. Harvest Ranch up in North County and Encinitas. Or listen to this. Go to almondrx.com right now, and you're going to get free shipping on your order of $25 or more. You heard me right. almondrx.com. ALMONDRX.com. Free shipping right now on orders of $25 or more. Almond RX curbs hunger and is perfect for the on-the-go lifestyle.
All right, this update is brought to you by the California Department of Public Health. Padres Braves 420 first pitch in Atlanta as the Padres start their 7-game road trip after getting swept by the Rockies the other day. Matt Waldron on the mound for the Padres against Max Fried for the Braves. In the lineup today, Manny Machado got moved down from the 4 spot to the 5 spot. We'll talk to Kevin Acee about that coming up in a bit. And moving over to the PGA Championship in Louisville at Valhalla, wild day. Scotty Scheffler, who got arrested this morning, went and shot a 6 under. He's at 9 under overall today. Xander Schauffele, he's at 12 under overall today. And Colin Morikawa is 11 under par. Why does it take time, or what does it take to take on Alzheimer's? Courage to learn the facts and know the signs, and confidence to talk to your healthcare provider about screening and early dedication. Find out how you can take on Alzheimer's at takeonalz.com, California Department of Public Health.
All right, let's find out if the Padres can turn the page. Obviously, a lot of discussion after getting swept at home by the Rockies. We'll get into what Mike Schilt had to say, obviously, Wednesday following that series finale, as well with Kevin Acee, who's our Padres insider, back with us on Jon and Jim. And Kevin, we appreciate it. We know this game's coming up in less than an hour. You tweeted about Manny Machado today being moved down from 4th to 5th. Not a crazy drop in the lineup, but you tweeted out just the second time for Manny in the past 9 seasons that he's batting lower than 4th in a batting order. So what is your reaction to Manny, who's clearly struggling, being bumped down 1 spot tonight?
Well, I'm not a big lineup construction guy as much as, we all pay attention to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, but is it really that big a deal? It's a big deal because of what you just said, right? Like Manny Machado does not bat lower than 4th, okay? And he is. So it's a big deal. What was interesting, and this is one thing I you want to talk about what Mike Schilt says versus what he does, right? So it speaks volumes that he moved Manny Machado down, okay? Bob Melvin did it 1 game last year. Manny was struggling early on. You don't move Manny Machado down. He did. So that says everything. Now, ask Mike Schilt about it before the game, and it's about everything except Manny struggling. And that's fine. That's totally fine, because what he's doing is he's taking care of it. And he talks about it. It spreads the lefties out. Okay, yep, it does. He talks about a bunch of stuff, except that pro's doing well. Yep, you're right. Profar is doing well. And then you go and you ask him about it, and afterward, it's like, but come on now. If Manny had an 850 OPS, right, this wouldn't be happening. Mm-hmm. And he acknowledges that. But he just is a very positive guy who is not going to he's not going to talk bad about his players publicly.
And I think, the press conference the other day is what everyone was talking about. Obviously, you were there. I don't think people, Kevin, are wanting him to maybe talk bad about the players, because I don't think that's a good strategy from the manager. Like you just, like you heard Ron Washington the other day, just completely throw one of his players under the bus. I mean, I don't think anybody that covers his team or watches his team thinks that's a good idea. I just think people want Mike Schilt to kind of, not paint a picture of something that people just watched as not what they just watched, which was they got swept and they got outplayed, but to him, they didn't.
Right. And a little bit of it, believe me, you can nitpick it to death. And there's a bunch of valid points about that. Like it just happened to be my question about outplayed, because I would rather it was someone else's question. So it doesn't sound like I'm being defensive. Mm-hmm. They care less. All right. I know Mike enough, and I talk to Mike far more off camera than on. Outplayed. Of course they got outplayed. And he chose to sort of nitpick at that word when I'm telling you, I went back and I listened. I read the transcript. I got, nothing else to do. So that's what I do. Yeah. And it's like, Mike, everything you just said in the previous 5 minutes was basically the Webster's definition of being outplayed. Yeah. But yet he didn't want that to be said about his team. And so it's like, really, is it like that big? He basically said they were being outplayed. He just didn't like to hear someone else saying that. And he wanted to make a point. And gosh, he did that with Dennis in Colorado. And it's like, he just, that's just who he is. And I don't know if you read my newsletter yesterday. Yep. And look, I know these things about him. He is He is a genuinely positive person, but this is also very purposeful. I will push back on it being performative. I've heard it kind of talked about that way, at least the one in Colorado, and maybe that was a little bit. This was not performative. This is purposeful, though. He believes that this is the way to kind of guide this team along right here. They don't need to hear that from their manager, not whether it makes a difference or not, whether I agree with him. I'm just telling you, like, he took over a toxic situation. He took over a clubhouse that needed a little bit of a pat on the butt, and that's what he's doing. And I guess we'll see.
And when you say purposeful, who is he saying these things for the purpose of? Like, is it the entire clubhouse? Because I feel like the clubhouse said the exact opposite of what Mike Schultz said the other day. It's like,
okay,
so
now let's go there.
Yeah.
Let's go there. I remember I was going on, it was when we were testing out this nifty new device that we're using.
Yeah,
You guys,
amazing.
Yeah, it sounds very. You heard us.
you guys happened
Yeah.
to be playing the Manny exchange with me
Yep.
at that point.
Yeah.
Manny just says stuff sometimes, guys. Come on. Can we finally just kind of like, there's times, do you realize how many times I don't put in something Manny said because I'm like, looks different than black and white than if you know Manny. Manny said we played bad. Then 10 seconds later, when I said, hey, Manny, by the way, what did you mean by we played bad? I didn't say we played bad.
Yeah.
Can we learn from this? Manny just talks sometimes. Okay. Now, I also, just so we're clear, so I'm not taking out of context here, Manny also says some incredibly insightful things and knows a lot about baseball. But there are times when he's standing up in front of the media, he just says stuff. And so I'm not saying that these guys were bummed. I alluded to that in my newsletter. And that also, I believe, played into a little bit of Mike's going to, let them know, to answer your question, who's he speaking to? Well, he is speaking to fans. He does kind of want them to understand, look, sky isn't falling. We are playing pretty well in a lot of areas. And I would agree with them on that, sure. I'd also say they got outplayed. But, they are playing pretty decent. But he does want the players to know that, hey, everything I'm saying to you in here, I'm saying out there too, like we're doing a lot of good things. And if we continue to get 11 walks, we're going to win. If we continue to get 12 hits, we're going to win. We didn't this series, but we're going to win most of the time we do that. So I also thought Joe Musgrove's quote was in my story from the game was fantastic. And that doesn't mean I would still contend they should have taken 2 or 3 against this team. So Gomber shoved it on Wednesday, fine, but you should have won the first 2 games. The Rockies, Joe said, what was it? He said something to the effect of they did not look like a bad team. They didn't do the kinds of things a bad team does. They did a lot of things a winning team does. And he was right. When they played the Rockies in April, they looked every bit of the worst team in baseball. And when they came here, they didn't. Again, Padres still should have won 2 or 3. But the Rockies were not the worst team in baseball for those 3 days.
Sure.
They also swept the Rangers over the weekend.
Yeah. No, that is fair. Kevin Acey's our Padres insider, is with us right now on Jon and Jim. For me to put a bow on the Mike Schultz conversation for now, and I feel actually I've probably asked you, or we've asked you maybe 3 or 4 times over the last 3 or 4 weeks about Mike Schultz messaging and how it plays towards the media or the fans or the clubhouse. I guess I would ask it this way, because you've got this amazing fan base that's, 40,000 people, as you know, Kevin, each and every night. It's spectacular. You could argue whether it's deserved or not the last 2 years, but the fans are there. So is it a disservice to both the media? You're there. It's your job to cover this. And the fans. You've got this smart baseball community here. Is it a disservice when you are speaking in a manner in which it doesn't match the eyes of the media or the fan base, these loyal people that are there each and every day?
I get that. And I could decide that I would say unequivocally, yes, I agree with you. I will also say that I'm going to be the guy judging Mike Schultz on results at the end of the season. And so what is his best path to getting those results? So it is a tough position the manager's in, because especially in today's game, when a lot of players aren't there to talk and be accountable, okay? The manager is the spokesperson and the face of the team. So he goes out there and he is trying to explain to the fans, which you are 100% right. And the media as a conduit to the fans, you are 100% right. There's a certain amount of owe it to people. On the other hand, he's trying to lead this team and guide them through an arduous season. And every season is a grind. And there's a lot of personalities and egos and that sort of thing. And so that guy is in a tough position. So I don't mean to dodge your question,
No, it's
but
fair.
I just think that is super, super complex, because if you're looking at it from one perspective, yes, we want more, we deserve more. And then you go, but wait a minute, who's this guy really working with and working for?
It seems like every manager that's been here for the last 5 years is in a tough position, Kevin. It feels like they're all like making sure they treat everybody the right way, say the right
maybe
things.
for different reasons.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Don't step on these eggshells. Interesting how those things work here. The move of Manny to the 5 spot, I feel like with having the record they have and knowing where they have to go this year, and this urgency thing that was talked about last year, last year's team, it felt like there was not that much urgency. There was a lot of like, we're going to wait around and we're going to get our numbers and it's going to eventually come, and never did. And I feel like the same way this year, where the urgency needs to be there, almost more urgency than last year because of how much is riding on this season. Is the moving Manny down and moving the lineup around a little bit have to do with some of that urgency, or is it just simply because he's struggling and they're trying something new?
I think it's the latter. It's, he's struggling. They're trying something new. They're facing Max Fried. Now, the interesting part there is righties are hitting 400 against him, and lefties are hitting 400 against him. And righties, Dylan Cease, the only starter in baseball better. They're both like amazing. Well, Dylan Cease is a righty. So, Max Fried is like a freak. Have you seen what his last 4 starts have been? This is going to be a tough one here.
Sure.
Hey, by the way, have you seen what the Braves stars are doing? As much as we're down on Manny, Xander, and Tatis,
Acuna's not doing that well.
Olson's not doing that well. Riley's not doing that well. But what's happening? Their starting pitching is awesome, and the Padres has been inconsistent. Anyway, sorry, I veered off. It's not, and you weren't saying this, Jim. It's not a panic move, but I don't even think it's an urgency move. But then again, I want to say this. Yeah, you know what? They don't want to wait on it. It's why I think there could be a trade coming before July. They don't want to wait on it. I push back on people saying AJ Preller makes moves because his job's on the line. Well, that would mean that you're not really paying attention, because AJ Preller always makes moves. But I do believe that the impetus for a sooner than later move this year could be that urgency, right? Not only is his job on the line, but this is a roster that's built to win now, right? So whether his job's on the line or not, I think he's like, no, we got to take care of things. Let's go get Luis Arraez. Let's go get Dylan Cease. Maybe let's go get a reliever. This kind of move could be looked at like, I could wait to move down the big, $31.8 million a year guy, and, guy who's never batted. But no, you know what? So I want to give my show credit for that. Yeah, now's the time.
Kevin, we're up against it, but when you say a move before July, you kind of reference it there. You'd be thinking more reliever than anything else. If the Padres were to make a move in the next 6 weeks, you're thinking bullpen?
I'm saying bullpen now because that's what I have actually been talking to people about. Not to say that there's something imminent, but yes, bullpen. But you know what? That changes. It wasn't bullpen 2 weeks ago.
Sure.
And so look, right now, most of your problems when you start, it's your 4 and 5, not your 4 and 5 spots, wherever Vasquez has been filling in, and then Waldron. Could it still be a starter? Absolutely, it could still be a starter, because look, they can't get out of their own way. They can't get out of the offense's way too often. So it could still be a starter. But right now, what's the thought is like, hey, yeah, they scouting relievers, they're that sort of thing. Yeah, at this point, but that could change.
Joe pitching Sunday, Musgrove?
Yep, he sure is. Unless, as he said, something went terribly wrong or unexpected, whatever word he used. Yes, Joe threw in the bullpen today. Joe's fine. And I would like also for all of us to remember that for as much as we pay attention to when their precautionary injuries don't turn out that way, we now have 2 high-profile precautionary injuries that turned out to be exactly that. And that was Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove.
Kevin, thank you. Enjoy the weekend in Atlanta.
Sound great.
Finally. Thank you. See ya.
On the other side, we'll react to that. Plus, Scotty Scheffler getting arrested on no bingo cards today. We'll react to that as well next. All right, a lot to react to following our conversation with our Padres insider, Kevin Acee. That's next. Seven six bonus bucks. You up $1,000 every day this week. Listen for the keyword, enter it at sportssd.com. We're just talking off air, and you make a really good point. Kevin just told us that a lot of the players are kind of pushing back on this Rockies team being a little different. They're really good. They've won 7 straight, right? After that Padres win on Wednesday.
Were they watching the games that we were watching?
Yeah, like you said, I mean, Monday night, the Rockies did everything in their power to lose the game. You cannot walk more than 8 batters in the last 3 innings with a 1-run lead and ever win. Yet they walked 8 batters in the last 3 innings with a 1-run lead and somehow won the game.
And the same thing happened Tuesday night.
The Padres had a lot of chances Tuesday. Tying run and go-ahead run at the plate.
And Tuesday, you had a pretty decent pitching performance from Dylan Cease. Wasn't the greatest in the world.
That was good, though.
I think he went 6 and gave up 2.
5 2/3.
Almost 6. Gave up 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes. You they outplayed you mightily on Wednesday, and the Rockies looked like the greatest team on the planet on Wednesday in that 8-0 win for them. You're right. But the series as a whole, what games were you guys watching? Because apparently we're not on the same page, and fans and us, we weren't watching the same games.
Everyone is always looking for a reason to legitimize their success or lack thereof. Yeah. And that's basically my point over the last 48 hours. Mike Schulte, stop spinning. We're smart. We've watched it with our own 2 eyes. Enough of the spinning. You got swept at home by the Rockies. I don't even care about the circumstance. I don't care if Todd Helton came back and hit 4 home runs on Tuesday.
Cargo's
I don't
back.
care
what
if
the hell?
Andres Galarraga, the big cat, was activated and had a pinch hit home run in the 8th.
Matt Holliday still hasn't touched
I
home
don't
plate.
care if anyone's touching home plate or not. You can't get swept at home by the Rockies and then pretending as if, well, here, not to alibi it, whatever that even means, but here are the reasons as to why we didn't get outplayed. You're living in a different world as everyone else that's watching these games.
Let me say, they can get swept at home by the Rockies.
Well, they just did.
It's not like it's the end of the season now. Like the season's not just like, hey, guys, we're not going to play the rest of the games.
You didn't hear?
What?
Yeah, you didn't get that press release? Came in at like 10 a.m.
The point is, and it really is kind of just, it is beating a dead horse with the drum a little bit. But the fact of the matter is, it's not that you can't lose at home to the Rockies and get swept by them. It's that when you do get swept by them at home to the Rockies, and then you try to paint a picture like it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, don't excuse it.
Yeah. That's where it comes into why we, and a lot of people, by the way, it's not just us, a lot of fans, a lot of people are questioning, like, what were you watching this last week?
Yeah, but Jim, they only issued 4 walks. That's the same thing as saying that the Nuggets lost the T-Wolves 114-66, but the Nuggets were 10 of 10 from the free throw line. Great. You lost 114-66. That wasn't the final, but you saw the game. They lost by 40 points or whatever. Like, nobody cares about anything other than the final result in professional sports.
It's like that meme of Chris Paul hitting a 3 to cut the lead to 42.
Exactly.
You're like,
you did that the night the Padres came back from 8-0 down. Cronenworth did a home run to make it 8-1.
I didn't do that.
Yes,
I might have done that. Yeah. And then they won that game.
And they won the game.
Oh, I don't remember that. But anyway.
You don't? That's very weird. It was only like 3 weeks ago. All right. On the other side.
I remember yesterday, John.
Good point. Oh, Darnay Tripp's going to join us coming up next. Darnay Tripp, our other Padres insider. He was in the room when Mike Schilt went on his diatribe about how good the Padres are.
We're just going to talk to everybody that was in the room.
Everyone that was in the room. We haven't talked to Marty. Call Marty.
Can we call John Howard, please?
Seriously, that's a good idea. Darnay Tripp, NBC7 on the other side. Ryan Harrington, Golf Digest. Everything going on at Valhalla. He'll join us at 4:30. Stay with us.
This update's brought to you by the California Department of Public Health. Padres Braves start a 4-game series tonight in Atlanta. 4:20 first pitch. Matt Waldron on the mound for the Padres against Max Fried for the Braves. Manny Machado has been moved down in the lineup. He is now hitting 5th today. Moving over to the PGA Championship at Valhalla. What a wild day. Xander Schauffele, he is 12 under par, leads the tournament by a stroke over Colin Morikawa at 11 under par. And Scotty Scheffler, who was arrested this morning, went out and shot a 66. He's 9 under par, tied for 3rd at the PGA Championship. What does it take to take on Alzheimer's? Courage to learn the facts and know the signs, and confidence to talk to your healthcare provider about screening and early detection. Find out how you can take on Alzheimer's at takeonalz.com. California Department of Public Health.
San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour 2, Jon and Jim with you until 6 p.m. Really good hour. Starting right now with Darnay Tripp from NBC7. We have Ryan Harrington, Golf Digest. He will join us to talk about the PGA Championship coming up at 4:30. But Darnay, we appreciate you hopping on. Now, I didn't even talk about this in the first hour. I didn't think I'd be here today because of jury duty.
Right.
But I didn't realize with jury duty, I'm so thankful that my wife told me this. Otherwise, I would have just gone. She's like, did you call the number? I'm like, what number?
Of course you didn't call the number.
So call the number. It's like if you, do you know if your flight's delayed, you don't go to the airport if the flight's 12 hours late. So I called the number and they're like, no jurors are expected to report on Friday, May 17th. I'm like, oh.
I almost wish you went just so you.
I would have been so pissed.
Yeah,
I would have been so pissed. Anyway, Darnay, I was going to have you do my job for all 3 hours, but thanks for hopping on right now.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Okay, so here's where I want to start. You're in the room. I know we've talked about this for 48 hours. We want to get everyone that was in the room on the show. We just had Kevin. We've had you. We need to get John Howard. We need to talk to Marty. But so you're in the room. This is my basic question that I asked Kevin as well, but I want your reaction to it. Is Mike Schill doing a disservice by spinning something that is so obviously being spun? Like he's spinning to the media, which in turn is spinning to these, really passionate Padres fans that are showing up in droves here once again in 2024. Is it a disservice, and why is he doing it?
That's a good question. I think, the one of the concerns that I had after it was it seems to show a lack of understanding just about kind of what the fan base has gone through the last few years. And, there's a reason he's asked these questions is because it's been really hard. And there's been these seasons where they've kind of spun their wheels and we've expected them to get it in gear, and it just hasn't necessarily happened. Now, it did at the end of 2022. By the time they did it last year, it was too late. And so everybody's kind of on high alert, including the fans. And I think from a manager's standpoint, it's, important to understand the perspective and experience of fans and understand that, that's why you're getting these questions when it might seem like if it happened in the vacuum, like, why is everybody so in such a panic about this right now? It's early in the season. We just played well. It doesn't happen in a vacuum. We're all kind of applying previous experience to what we're seeing right now. And so that's why. And look, it's his prerogative to spin. I get it. You're not necessarily going to convince everybody of whatever it is that he is trying to convince people of, that they didn't get outplayed. I mean, I think they objectively got outplayed during that series. We know Schilt is going to defend his guys. I think that's part of it. But I think he could have tried to make that sales pitch to everybody without maybe pushing back as much as he did on reporters and getting as defensive as he did. That's why we're talking about it. I think we'd be talking about him trying to spin, certainly, and whether or not we believe that. Instead, we're talking about not just the spin, but why he was so defensive when it didn't necessarily seem like the questions and the tone of the questions maybe merited that response.
Right. And then the clubhouse afterward had the complete opposite. Well, mostly there was other players in there that, Manny and maybe Musgrove to an extent that didn't think it was that bad, but you had guys like Michael King and Xander Bogaerts tell you like it is, like, hey, we got booed. Okay, yeah, we deserve it. Like, if you don't want to get booed, play better. So it was interesting how some of the messaging from inside that clubhouse from the players was completely different from Mike Schilt. Moving on from the press conference, because they do
no,
we have to talk about it forever.
We'll talk about this forever.
Talk about it forever.
Why'd you guys have me on? I thought we were just going to be on talking about the press conference for 15, 20 minutes.
He didn't agree to come on to talk about anything other than the press conference.
Okay.
I'll just hop off. I don't have anything else to add to this conversation except the press conference.
Okay, so not acknowledging the fans booing at Petco Park and kind of pushing back with that, of saying like, well, it's kind of funny how after the last 3 days, everyone changed their tune. Do you think that was wise of him to go that route?
And obviously, I'm kidding. I'll talk about whatever you guys want.
I know you're kidding. I'm going here, Darnay. Yeah. Let me do this.
Again, like Michael King nailed that answer. If you want to know how to address this, just go find Michael King's answer. I'm sure it's on Marty Caswell's YouTube page.
Yeah.
It's probably on Twitter. He can probably find quotes. I think Jeff Sanders passed it along. Like, that's how you handle it. You acknowledge that we didn't play great. They have the right to boo. These are smart baseball fans. Like, look at Michael King, like early on endearing himself to the Padres fan base. And so, like, Mike Schilt handling that the way that he was pretty close to getting by, but the whole well, it's funny how things change. That was the one line that I feel like, okay, you slipped up a little bit. It's not going to be received well by the fan base. Like, it's not going to hang with the guy. It's not going to be an issue beyond that. But just not look, you lost 3 straight games that everybody expected you to win. They let you hear about it. Just take it on the chin. Even Xander Bogaerts, who I think seemed surprised that the boos started as early as they did after that Michael King home run. He came around to saying what needs to be said. You don't want to get booed, play better. And so I think in many ways, the guys in the clubhouse kind of navigated those questions better than their manager did.
Well said. I agree with you. Darnay Tripp, NBC 7 on Friar podcast with us right now, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. So Manny drops down in the lineup. I'm not from 4th to 9th, but from 4th to 5th. And then Kevin Acee tweeted that it's only the second time in the last 9 years he's batted lower than cleanup. There was one game last year in late April. So does dropping Manny change anything in your opinion for Manny, or what does it say about where they are that they do drop him in the lineup one spot?
Says he hasn't been hitting the ball very well.
Right.
And I think Kevin tweeted that it was at some point last year that he hit.
Yep.
5th, I want to say. So it's not completely unheard of. I don't remember it being a big issue last year. The fact that I didn't really even remember it happening, proves that it didn't seem to be a big issue last year. I think these guys kind of understand. And Manny's not the only one. I mean, Bogaerts, slipped another spot, I think, below him. Unless Bogaerts might have already been 6th.
He has been, yeah.
Yeah, he has been 6th. So, I mean, but the fact of the matter is, 2 of their stars are hitting middle or below in the order. So Manny's not the only one. And, look, last year in particular, who the heck else were you going to hit, top 4?
Right.
This year, we've talked about the length of the lineup. We've talked about Campusano and Merrill and certainly Profar and Cronenworth, guys that are ahead of them, hitting as well as they have. And you have Luis Arraez. So there are just more options and more guys that are deserving of those spots ahead of Machado at this point. And like you said, it's 5th. It's not 8th. It's not the end of the world. And I think there's a pretty simple solution. I don't want to say easy to carry out, but a pretty simple solution for Manny Machado to move back up. But, that's based on what we've heard. It's hard to know how optimistic we can be about that happening and us seeing that type of Manny Machado as consistently as we like, given the way that the elbow seems to be kind of lingering.
Who do you have most faith in of Manny, Tatis, and Bogaerts to get this thing going and have some decent season?
That's a great question. I feel like you have to go with Tatis. I mean, he's the one that isn't, as far as we know, dealing with an injury of any sort. And, Xander Bogaerts has been, it's been such a struggle for him. And so it's hard to throw his name out there. And Tatis is just such an explosive talent. And you see it in spurts, come out of nowhere and have a 2-homer type of game. And, it's got to happen for him at some point. He's too important to this team. He's too talented. And, if Manny and Bogarts if they were playing well, if they were playing up to their expectations, then we'd be probably talking about Fernando Tatis Jr. a whole lot more. He's kind of skated off a little bit because so much of the focus has been on those other guys. But he's the guy with the just supreme talent and potential, and probably the safest pick of the three to kind of click it into gear at some point.
Darnay Tripp with us right now, NBC 7, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, getting ready for some Padres Braves 4-game series that kicks off later this afternoon. You look at the Padres at 22 and 24, could be better, could be worse. Season hasn't been determined, obviously. If you were making one upgrade, if you're in AJ Preller's shoes, you look at this team, you've watched them for 46 games, not that you're making the upgrade today, but if you're thinking about something over the next 6 weeks, what's the area of upgrade, or what's the one upgrade you'd like to see?
I think it's got to be bullpen, right? That seemed a bridge to Robert Suarez, I would think, because Yuki Matsui hasn't been as steady, Wandy Peralta hasn't been as steady, Aniel De Los Santos. They've done well in the past. Aside from last year, Luis Garcia in 2022. Good in kind of that 8th inning role, and they've had guys that have excelled, and they've had kind of that 1-2 punch towards the end of the game. They have one of those punches. They don't have the guys that can kind of make sure that the game is in check and they can hand it off to Robert Suarez in good position. We've seen that at points when they've hit well and they've gotten good starting pitching, where the bullpen can stumble a little bit. So, as much as I think we'd all like maybe a thumper in the lineup or something like that, that puts a little bit more of a scare in you, because as good as Luis Suarez is, you're never really worried about him changing a game with one swing. He can win you a game with one swing, as we saw a week ago. But I think at this point, the clearest weak spot is in the bullpen, and just finding guys that can kind of get you between a starter that's going to get you 6 or 7 and get you to Robert Suarez.
Musgrove is going to return on Sunday here. I am still concerned about Joe going forward, because this is now 2 times he's gone on the IL for a arm injury in the last, 6-7 months here. They are claiming, and we just talked to Kevin, that everything's fine, precautionary, nothing's wrong here. Are you of the same mindset that it's fine, nothing wrong, everything's precautionary? Or do you feel like, this is kind of a little bit of a scary situation here, 2 arm injuries in the last 7 months?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's fair to want to see it, right? To want to see him out there for a few months before you really feel comfortable. Joe seemed comfortable and confident, from a medical standpoint. It sounds like everything kind of came back clean. And the fact that obviously a different injury, it's not an arm injury with you, but the fact that, they took him out for a little bit, he came back and has been really good ever since, I think is encouraging. Obviously, it being kind of a different type of situation. So I think with he sounded like he likes the work that they've done and everything to kind of build up to that Sunday start. Like, I don't have too much trepidation about it, but I think it's fair to be a little bit skeptical that he's going to be out there every 5 days until you see it for an extended stretch, because that hasn't been the case since July or August of last year.
Final one for me is going to have to center around the PGA Championship at Valhalla, and not Scotty Scheffler, but Xander Schauffele, who you've covered throughout your tenure here in San Diego. He's had obviously a marvelous start to this event. We all know he's still seeking a major championship. It would be the first of his career. He's currently 12 under par and leading at Valhalla by a stroke. What do you make of his start, and what might be different this time around for Xander?
It's a great question. A start like that almost feels like a 2-touchdown lead in the first quarter of a football game.
Right.
Feels really great. There's a lot of football game to go, and it can change very, very quickly. And as we saw today, Colin Morikawa comes out, lights it up, and for a brief moment of time, he was ahead of Xander, and Xander's regained his position, but it's certainly not like he's put everybody away by any stretch. I mean, there's a lot of talented golfers right around him. a guy like Scotty Scheffler, you expect to be in the mix, certainly Colin Morikawa among others. So there's so much that can happen between now and then. And I think it's tough for Xander because, we all see things in kind of a narrative fashion. And just like last week at the Wells Fargo incredible start, he's got a lead on Rory McIlroy. They're basically heads up Sunday, and it doesn't end up being competitive in the back nine. And so when there's been so many close calls, and especially this year, like top 10s but not wins, it's hard to avoid that sort of narrative. And that will certainly follow him if he doesn't close the deal this week. I think, and he was asked about it yesterday, is this the best golf that you've been playing? And he thought about it for a second and seemed to indicate that, yeah, that is the case. And I think part of it is he started working with a different swing coach after, basically just working with his dad up to that point. He's added a ton of distance, which has been super important. And so I think that element of his game, we know how important that is with golf, has allowed him to have the season that he has. But as we know, the mental side comes into it when you're competing for a major on Sunday, and he at times has seemed more comfortable playing from behind. But maybe he can tap into that Olympic experience from a few years ago. And maybe just the experience of having just been there against Rory, that pairing, even if it wasn't a major, maybe kind of had that feel to it. So hopefully those experiences can help him feel steady. And I think everybody would like to see him play to his potential in that situation rather than Sunday rolls around and the story is somebody else lighting it up and Xander just kind of having an okay round, but not doing enough to win.
Do you have any questions for next weekend, Darnay? This is probably the last chance we'll be talking before then.
Just the questions that we are sharing on the group text.
Right.
Okay, is it still going to happen? I've seen some Instagram posts shared between the two of you,
right.
So it seems like you're still on good terms.
Yeah, we still are.
That's one. When we sing "Fly Eagles Fly,"
Yeah.
What are you wearing? What are you wearing to this wedding?
When you renounce your 49ers fandom, now that you're in an Eagles family. So those are the main questions. What are we eating, by the way? I don't even know if I know that. That's probably the most important question of all.
We're having some good food, Darnay. We're having some good food. I'll text you what it is.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
it's a long list. We have appetizers and family style and
okay. So all right. So let me. Is there a Philly-based item on the menu?
That's a great question, and no, there's not.
And my last question is that in theory, how much money could if I didn't want to officiate and I needed you as a last minute substitute, how much money would you need to officiate Jim's wedding on the fly? You would do it for what? $100, $500, $1,000?
A couple $100.
Okay, perfect.
$100.
Perfect. I'll send you the script.
Because, there's no real expectations for me. I can't mess this situation up. You know what I mean? John already messed it up. So the bar is low for me.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I just, don't ruin it for them. And if I do, I'm going to have a great story to tell.
Am I at Darnay's table?
You are.
Oh, perfect. Okay, good.
Yes.
Yeah. I put
We're
you
going to do a wrap-up. Let's do a wrap-up show from the table of the wedding.
Love that.
Perfect.
Love that.
You guys are. I have a media table. So
yeah, we'll rip one soda together.
Yeah, so you guys are all together. Don't worry.
All right. Thanks, Darnay. We appreciate you, man.
Sitting at the media table?
What's up?
Is Schilt sitting at the media table?
He actually is not.
Here's the plan.
Yeah.
At the media table, you can only say nice things about the Padres.
Right. That's the rule.
That's all we would ever do.
Right.
Thanks, Darnay. All right, he's gone. His phone was kind of in and out there at the end, but it's always great to have Darnay Tripp. We will catch up, by the way, in just a few minutes with Ryan Harrington, Golf Digest. We'll talk more about Scotty Scheffler, obviously, with Ryan Harrington coming up, and more on that coming up at the 5 o'clock hour as well. Padres and Braves, 4-game wraparound weekend series underway in Atlanta.
Are you ready for next weekend?
To be honest,
it's fine if you're not.
I haven't looked at the script since me and you sat down with Aaron.
It's
just like you haven't probably.
I haven't looked at that script.
Yeah, I will get more into it next week, but next week's gonna be busy because got to get a tux. I got to pick it up. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do shows. I'm the one basically getting married. You're off all week. I got more of a responsibility than you do, and I got to juggle 5 shows.
I know. I'll be out at Torrey Pines playing golf.
No, you're not. Are you?
On Thursday next week, yeah.
With who?
The entire family.
Look, Brandon, we're looking at each other is this a joke? Is this some kind of sick joke?
I'm also golfing Wednesday too.
I thought you were off to get ready for the wedding.
This is getting ready for the wedding, John.
How?
I don't know.
These people are in town?
Because like everybody's in town. Family, friends.
All right.
Everybody's in town.
Thanks for the invite.
Well, you want to go golfing?
I don't play.
Exactly.
Thank you. Appreciate you asking.
You're welcome.
All right. On the other side, Ryan Harrington, Golf Digest. You know, the majors are always widely discussed. I don't know if you've ever had this type of chatter on a Friday of a PGA championship.
No.
Scotty Scheffler arrested at 6:01 a.m., shoots a 66, is in contention. So is the San Diego and the Aztec, Xander Schauffele. We'll catch up with Ryan Harrington from Golf Digest on the other side. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. Right, Ryan Harrington, Golf Digest, gets us up to date on all things Valhalla on and off the golf course. That's next.
This update's brought to you by the California Department of Public Health. Padres Braves underway in Atlanta, scoreless as we head to the bottom of the first inning there. PGA Championship round 2 at Valhalla in Louisville, Kentucky. Very, very eventful day there. Xander Schauffele, he currently leads the PGA Championship at 12 under par. Colin Morikawa is at 11 under par, shot a 6 under today. And Scotty Scheffler, eventful day for him, shot a 66 after being arrested this morning before his round 2. What does it take to take on Alzheimer? Courage to learn the facts and know the signs, and confident to talk to your healthcare provider about screenings and early detection. Find out how you can take on Alzheimer's at takeonalz.com. California Department of Public Health.
Round 2, Valhalla, Louisville, Kentucky. Ryan Harrington, great voice, back with us here on Jon Jim, managing editor, Golf Digest. Typically it's always a big deal. It's a major, but it's become even a bigger story on this Friday with everything involving Scotty Scheffler. So I guess I'd ask it like this, Ryan, and thanks for hopping on. In San Diego, how remarkable was the day 2 performance when you consider the backstory that played out here today in Louisville?
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah.
I think it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
In all honesty, for a guy who, really gets into this situation where he is arrested, he's handcuffed, he's taken to a police station, likely probably thinking in his head, that he wasn't going to play again, to suddenly then be released, go back to the golf course, somehow warm up, somehow put that all behind him and shoot the score that he did. I mean, it's remarkable. I don't know how else to characterize the performance. And then he so nonchalantly talked about everything. Actually, even thanked the arresting officers in this press conference after the round. It's amazing to see what transpired over the course of the last, almost 12 hours.
Yeah, and Scotty Scheffler is the headline here, but there also was a tragic accident that cost a person their life this morning. And looking back at him getting arrested this morning, him stretching in the jail cell that he said, and then watching himself on Get Up, and then going back out there shooting a 66, just from a golf perspective here, with everything that happened in the morning, was that one of the more impressive rounds of golf you've seen with all of the things factored in?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, to your point, I obviously there was a maudlin tone to the entire day here,
right?
And there was a very, very sad, bit of news from the morning, obviously, with the tragic, passing of a pedestrian who was hit by this bus, and so everything was going to take a backseat to that, but then to think of what was happening with Scheffler, and to think in just the golf specific parlance of this, with what he went through today, to then shoot that score. I mean, the golf itself was pretty remarkable, and it'll be interesting to see what happens after this. There was probably an adrenaline rush going on with him during the course of the round, and he talked even about being inside the ropes and kind of the peace that provided, given everything else that was going on. But whether that can carry over to tomorrow, or whether the reality of exactly what hit him here and still the consequences of what's going on. I mean, he's scheduled to be arraigned on Tuesday. There's still these charges. He was hopeful that he said it was a misunderstanding. He's hopeful that the things can clear up at some point in time. But right now, he's still very much looking at some seriousness in the legal system.
Not what I expected to see when I woke up. Scotty Scheffler arrested. Like, in what manner, in what facet is that even possible? Okay, so we appreciate it. Again, we're talking about PGA Championship Round 2. Ryan Harrington from Golf Digest with us right now. So here locally, we have an Aztec, Xander Schauffele, who's one of the best golfers in the world. It's always discussed here locally. Is he the best golfer in the world that has not yet won a major? What could make this different this time around? He's always around the top of a leaderboard on Sundays, traditionally in majors. Right now, he's leading this tournament by a stroke. What have you seen from Xander, and what could make this time around different for him?
Well, I mean, sadly, and it's a little bit of a cliche, but experience with this, frankly. He has put himself in contention at major championships before, at regular PGA Tour events, and obviously, had some close calls. He's won regular PGA Tour events. He's won the gold medal in the Olympics. So he's been able to close the deal at times, but these majors have obviously been his bugaboo. And I just think, the more you're in the situation where you feel that pressure and you understand what's going to go on with your game, the better. And so I'm going to guess that coming into this weekend, right now he's leading with another hole of play here. He'll be in the mix, obviously, and I anticipate him to, be a contender come Sunday, because I just think he's got that good a game. He's playing well right now. I mean, if you think about what happened last week at the Wells Fargo Championship when he had the lead, and then kind of, Rory McIlroy just went on this tear and passed him. And I don't think it was Xander losing the tournament so much as Rory really taking it by the horns there. And to a certain extent, maybe that fuels him and realizes what he's going to have to do. Maybe he's going to have to push the gas a little bit more this week. This is not set up like other major championships too. If you think about it, the scores are pretty low. This golf course is set up much more like a regular PGA Tour event, and that might work into his favor as well.
This might be a weird or crazy question to ask because of the severity of everything that happened this morning, and then Scotty gets arrested, but he is the number one golfer in the world, and he is very buttoned up. He is not the type of guy that's going to be doing like reality shows, or he's not on like all his social media or like podcasts or anything like that. He's a very buttoned up person. And with what happened this morning, you've seen social media. I mean, it's just absolutely blew up with memes and things with Scotty's mugshot. And in a weird way, do you think that this, I don't want to say helps him with his popularity, but like it feels like more people will be watching this weekend because of that, and they get to see the casual fan that might not watch the PGA Championship, but now watch because of everything that happened this morning.
Well, I definitely think the news of this morning is going to bring in people who weren't necessarily going to tune into the PGA Championship this weekend, and bring some more eyeballs to them. I mean, I got an email from People Magazine talking about Scotty Scheffler's arrest today. That usually doesn't happen for the PGA Championship or a golf tournament, quite frankly. So, yeah, I think this, what's happened, obviously will get more people curious about what's going on this weekend, and perhaps get more people behind Scheffler. I think, to your point, Scotty's personality is that he wasn't, he's not really flashy. He's very quiet, reserved, doesn't go on social media, like you said. I don't think that's going to change. I think nothing what that's transpired in the last, day here is going to, really impact him in that way, so to speak. I think obviously, it's a crazy moment in his life, given everything that's been going on. Remember, he and his wife had their first child,
right?
Too. There's so much going on here. I don't think it's going to change him fundamentally in any way. I just think that it's a situation that nobody could have anticipated, nobody expected, nobody really knows how to deal with. And so what will be interesting to see is how does he deal with this in the next couple of days? Because again, the reality of it's still going to be there, and it's going to be a storyline the next couple of days. And can he play through that? That's going to be the biggest question.
I don't know if you know this, but was Full Swing? Are they at the major? Are they at the PGA Championship to film for Netflix for next year?
They are supposed to be here at the PGA Championship. I don't know. I'm not at the tournament itself right now. My understanding is that they're at the tournament. I don't know what kind of access they had into anything here. Obviously, if you think about it, there was nobody probably around at 5 or 6 in the morning here to get anything like that. Now, when he came back to the golf course, were there people around? Perhaps. I'm not entirely sure.
No doubt. Ryan Harrington with us right now, Golf Digest, talking about this PGA Championship well underway. What is it about Valhalla that makes it, the right site for PGA Championships? I know it's had a Ryder's Cup. It's had senior PGA Championships, I think, before previously. But, this is what, the 4th or 5th PGA Championship. What about this course in the Midwest, has allowed it to host this many marquee events?
Well, it had a history with the PGA of America, which runs the PGA Championship. The PGA of America actually had an ownership stake in the golf course for a little while. It no longer does. And there is a question then of whether the PGA Championship returns to this golf course or another major championship. The new owners definitely would like to have another major here. I think the golf course, sometimes it's been panned a little bit. It's a Jack Nicklaus design, and the back nine is very exciting, but some people suggest that the front nine is a little bit pedestrian. It's built, though, for spectator golf, and I think that's what you're going to see this weekend. Is you're going to see thousands of fans. They're going to have huge galleries the next couple of days, so long as the weather isn't too crazy tomorrow. And I think from that standpoint, it creates an excitement level there. And then the golf course itself, again, as I said before, it kind of yields some low scores here. And I think that, generally speaking, makes for some more exciting tournaments. They've benefited obviously greatly. Tiger Woods winning here in 2000, Rory McIlroy winning here last time it was here in 2014. And I think there's, got a leaderboard right now with Xander on it, but with some major winners, with Colin Morikawa just went off the pace, Scotty Scheffler in the mix. I think there's the potential for some really big names to still be in the mix this weekend. And I think it's a confluence of a golf course that, doesn't necessarily separate itself, which some people could say is a good thing, some people say is a bad thing, but it has produced a lot of drama over the years because of it.
Ryan, am I right in saying that the U.S. Open, as I turn the page, has kind of looked past now at Torrey Pines in San Diego? I know it was just here, but I'm looking at future U.S. Open sites. This thing's booked out through like 2042, and I know they've gone to more of a rotation with some of these traditional courses. Is Torrey Pines no longer a future U.S. Open site, in your opinion, or could they one day be hosting PGA Championships? What comes of Torrey Pines?
Well, it's an interesting question. You're right, and the USGA has zeroed in on 4 or 5 different golf courses, some historic landmark courses in Pebble Beach and Pinehurst, where it's going to be this year, and Oakmont and Shinnecock Hills, where they're going to rotate and bring the event, their national championship, back to those venues more frequently than in the past. So that leaves fewer dates open for a place like a Torrey Pines and whatnot. I don't think Torrey Pines is out of the mix by any means, but it's going to be a little bit of a while. And then the question is, does Torrey Pines or does the local municipality want to try to entertain the idea of a PGA Championship or a different big event, so to speak? Think about Bethpage Blackout here in Long Island, closer to where Golf Digest is located. They hosted 2 U.S. Opens, but then realized they were probably out of the mix for U.S. Opens and hosted the PGA Championship back in 2019. And I think that there's the potential for that still with Torrey Pines. I don't think the USGA dislikes it, but I think they decided they needed to be able to have their championships at some of these more iconic golf courses, some of the historic ones. And that's kind of unfortunately going to mean that there's fewer dates available for a place like Torrey Pines down the road.
Which seems to be a shame because you think about some of the great moments in the last quarter century in golf. It involves Tiger Woods at Torrey. John Rahm has won a Torrey U.S. Open. It seems potentially to be a somewhat short-sighted, but then again, like you said, they have other sites obviously in their rotation. Ryan, we appreciate your time. We're looking forward to this weekend in Louisville, and thank you for doing it.
Hey, it's my pleasure, guys. Take care now.
All right, Ryan Harrington, managing editor, Golf Digest. On the other side, let's get to the wrap. A little late in this 4 o'clock hour. More on Scotty Scheffler's wild last 12 hours or so as well. In the 5 o'clock hour, we're with you until 6 p.m. It's Jon and Jim. All right, the wrap is on the other side. Stay with us. Red Shoe Day is coming up May 22nd, benefiting Ronald McDonald House Charity San Diego. Proceeds stay in San Diego, directly supporting our families. Funds raised during Red Shoe Day support lodging, meals, emotional support, and family day services provided by the house at no cost to families. Our iHeart team for Red Shoe Day will be collecting donations at the intersection of Balboa and Ruffin Road next Wednesday, 7 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Hi, Jim.
Hi, John.
How are you?
I'm great.
Let's get to this.
It's time for The Wrap, presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Can the Padres win this 4-game series in Atlanta?
Yeah, I could win the lottery tomorrow, too.
With the same odds?
Tonight's going to be tough, no doubt about it.
Yep.
But I just want them to, like, win some games. Just don't lose the series. Don't get swept. Don't lose the series. You split, and I think I would take that absolutely right now. Split.
Oh, yeah.
No questions asked.
I agree with you. I mean, to your point, can they? Sure. Are the odds stacked against winning 3 out of 4 against a team that's 15-5 at home? Of course they are. But if you do finagle or manage a split, they've had a couple of really impressive road series against really good teams. The Cubs, I think, were 12-4 at home when the Padres won a series in Chicago earlier this year. So I think there'd be real momentum or positivity by getting 2 out of 4, let alone 3 out of 4. So, yeah, I'd sign up for that split right now, especially with Max Fried pitching game 1 for Atlanta tonight. Next question.
How many games will Manny bat below the 4-hole this season?
Well, since that I was completely wrong about Manny hitting below the 4-hole, and I mean, he's only done it now twice in 9 seasons. So
and we've never been wrong on the show ever,
right.
So it's a shock.
It was the first time.
I'm never wrong ever, guys. A couple games? I don't think it's going to last long, honestly. If he doesn't hit it's I don't know if they're going to change it, John. But if it all is all dependent on like Jurickson Profar continuing to hit, which he is, and Jake Cronenworth, like that's the only way that Manny's going to hit in the 5 hole is if the other guys are actually performing. If the other guys aren't performing, then it's going to go back to the normal, I think.
Schulte said tonight, this is to obviously basically flip-flop lefties and righties. But you could do that by moving him up, by the way, in the lineup. Not just, and why did they move him down as opposed to up? Because of the way he's played. He's 2 for his last 33. It is understandable. I personally would be shocked if he does drop lower than the 5 hole.
When's that happen?
I think that's a whole nother conversation. Right. A rookie year is my assumption. So, okay, we've seen the 5 hole, so it could clearly happen again. I think beyond or lower than 5th in a batting order, to me, still would be surprising, even with them making this move here today.
Right.
Next question.
Are you excited about San Diego FC and Tijuana meeting in friendlies for the next 5 years?
Did you see that announcement?
I did. It happened yesterday late in our show.
Oh, was it late in the show? Okay, like 5 o'clock hour.
Yeah, and I wasn't really like prepared to talk about it.
Oh, you didn't break down any of the film?
No, because that's something I don't keep up with, like a Darren or something.
You don't know who's on San Diego FC?
Because there's no one on San Diego FC,
Correct.
John.
Whatever.
I don't really even know about the Cholos, but I do think it's cool to have that border rivalry, and there's a lot of Cholos fans in Tijuana and close to the border and throughout San Diego as well, just because there's a big pocket of fans that love soccer, and then at San Diego FC is trying to do everything they possibly can to also bring all of those fans to be their fans as well. So I think by doing that, it's very, very smart.
I love the Cholos hat, by the way.
Oh,
when I was at Billions
design.
and Chula, I thought about buying their hat as well.
They have a great kit too.
They draw. I know they're not good, but I know they draw. Now, did you realize this? All 5 of these matches
will be at Snapdragon.
Yeah, which I found interesting. I think that's great for San Diegans. I thought it was interesting that with the proximity of these two teams, I mean, they're separated by whatever it is, 10, 20, 30 miles. I thought you'd have some cross-border friendlies.
This is more for, I think, like to bring the Cholos fans, Tijuana, close to the border, Imperial Beach area, Chula Vista. But they're already going to be
their fans to America as opposed to the STFC fans to Mexico.
This is about building for San Diego FC, I feel
Gotcha, as opposed to the other way around.
Yeah,
okay, that makes sense.
And it's like, hey, come see us and our product. We want everybody to be involved.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Instead of going down to Tijuana, because I feel like if you went down to Tijuana for 5 straight years, or even if you did like alternating years.
Back and forth, I was thinking.
Is that the Cholos have a built-in fan base? They're doing great.
Mm-hmm.
San Diego FC is the team that needs to build a fan base, build the trust of the community, build, whatever they're trying to accomplish here in San Diego. So I feel like having it be at Snapdragon Stadium for 5 straight years is smart.
It'll be cool for San Diegans. Next question.
Will the Pacers force a game 7 versus the Knicks tonight?
Probably. I think this needs to go 7 just because of the way the series is kind of shaped out. You get a game 7 now with
Nuggets, T-Wolves.
Maybe our prediction might be right.
About what? T-Wolves move on?
T-Wolves are the NBA champions.
How do you win by 50? You know what's going to happen. They win by 50 in game 6. They're going to lose by 28 in game 7.
Exactly.
Because they went on a 31-2 run to close out the quarter.
That helps.
Yeah, I'll go with Pacers win tonight, game 7 this weekend.
I'm all for game 7s. It would be Sunday between
Knicks
Pacers
are going to close
and
them out.
I think the Pacers will win this game. The Pacers have won their 2 home games. Every team has won its home floor. I don't think the Knicks, again, it's like, who needs it? I mean, the Knicks don't need it, and they've been so good at Madison Square Garden. I'll say this series sees a 7th game, which I think is good for the NBA. All right, much more on Scotty Scheffler, including what he told the media about preparing for his round today after getting arrested in Louisville at 6 a.m. Are you serious?
that was out of nowhere.
Hour 3 plus updates from Atlanta. Padres and Braves are underway. Stay with us.
I can't wait till next week when John's like, Jim,
Yeah.
do you
Shut
take
up.
Aaron?
Don't say- Go to break.
Yes.
All right, this update is brought to you by the California Department of Public Health. Padres, Braves, game 1 of their 4-game series. Atlanta leads the Braves 1-0 bottom of the second inning there. And the PGA Championship, round 2, almost concluding at Valhalla in Louisville, Kentucky. Xander Schauffele still leads the tournament at 12 under par. Colin Morikawa is at 11 under par. And Scotty Scheffler, who was arrested this morning, shot a 66. He's 9 under par at the PGA Championship. What does it take to take on Alzheimer's? Courage to learn the facts and know the signs, and confidence to talk to your healthcare provider about screening and early detection. Find out how you can take on Alzheimer's at takeonalz.com, California Department of Public Health.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Final hour of Jon and Jim for the week. We are on YouTube tonight. Jim, did you realize that? Wrap-up show tonight?
Yeah, I did.
9:30?
I did, John. I did. I realized it.
Following Padres Braves game 1. We'll keep you updated this hour on this game. Again, I think just on paper, if you told anyone Fried Waldron and you're a Padres fan, I don't know if you'd feel great about it.
No.
But it is baseball. And we've said that it's like Manny.
It's baseball.
It's baseball, Jim.
Baseball. It's baseball.
So
John.
you don't know. We'll see. It's early. They're trailing by a run. Bigger deficits have been overcome in the history of baseball.
They so far have 3 hits off of Max Fried.
In 2 innings, which is good, I think.
Yeah, some of your best players with Jerkson Profar and Jackson Merrill.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll keep you updated on this. Now, we've touched on it. We had Ryan Harrington on earlier. We talked to Darnay Tripp about it. I think we maybe mentioned it in the wrap as well. The Scotty Scheffler story today is amazing. And I think you need to put it in the perspective of this, Jim. It's essentially John Schaefer getting arrested. This is a guy that, he doesn't live dangerously, okay? And Jim follows golf a lot closer than I do. But there have been some, documentary type stuff, or if you follow this guy off the golf course, he's not overly interesting. And that's not a knock. It's not. It's just truthful. So when you wake up and find out that Scotty Scheffler was arrested, by the way, one of the charges is a felony for dragging an officer on his moving vehicle. You're like, excuse me? How is this possible? That alone is like a day into itself. This guy's been arrested. Then to somehow have your tee time move back, you get out of there, you get back to Valhalla, and you shoot your 66 is pretty surreal. Like, we cover sports for a living. We do this every single day, Jim. There's not a lot of comparable stories to Scotty Scheffler getting arrested and then shooting a 66.
It's the equivalent of Patrick Mahomes before a game on a Sunday afternoon.
A big game. This is a major.
Drive
into a playoff game.
Drive into the stadium and having a misunderstanding between some police officers.
All of a sudden he's cuffed.
And all of a sudden you cuff him. He goes to jail. He's detained. And then he gets released, goes back and plays in the playoff game, throws for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns.
And by the way, I could see that. With someone like Patrick Mahomes, with these elite athletes, Scotty Scheffler, I guess it's possible.
Because Scotty Scheffler is right now
amazing.
The best golfer in the world. It's really not even debatable. The way that he is playing, it's almost like Tiger-esque, where he is in every single tournament.
That's amazing.
And it happened at the Masters this year. Probably the closest thing we've seen to Tiger since Tiger, where Scotty got a lead and everyone around him crumbled. Everybody around him let the pressure get to them, or whatever the case may be. And it kind of turned out where Scotty just ran away with the tournament. And I'm not saying that he is Tiger, because I feel like Tiger in his heyday, we'll probably never see that again.
How many majors right now for Scheffler?
Off the top of my head, I don't know, but it's a handful.
Is it a hand? Okay. Well, that's a huge number. Even if it's 4 is a huge number, right?
He's
only 27.
Yeah.
But no, of course he's not Tiger Woods yet.
No. What's the number?
I'm looking. He's got 10 PGA Tour wins. He has a Masters in 22 and 24.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
2.
Yeah. He's got a master's
So,
in 22.
a
I mean, I
couple.
say that's it. It's
But
massive.
This is where he now gets into that next level, right? Scotty's been on a uphill trajectory here for a while now, and you're starting to see this year where you're like, oh, he's taking that next level. So when I woke up this morning
at 10:15,
and no, not 10:15, like 9:15, not the worst thing in the world.
You were actually, this happened 7 hours before you woke up, around in the 5 o'clock hours when it happened. He was arrested at 6.
So I woke up probably like around like 8:59, and then I start like turning over to my phone. I'm like, okay, let's see what's going on. I have 17 text messages from my buddies. I'm like, why do I have 17 text messages from my buddies? And the first text I see is like, now the headline is Scotty Scheffler detained after deadly crash. What the F is going on? That
sounds like he's involved in the crash that led to a fatality.
And I'm like, whoa,
which he wasn't.
Whoa. And I go on to Twitter or X. Immediately I see the Jeff Darlington video, and I'm still like kind of waking up at this moment in time. I'm like, what is this like real? Scotty Scheffler, one of the most buttoned up people you'll ever talk to or meet in your entire life, getting arrested. And then to top it off, it's like Jeff Darlington, who we all know,
it's just like there
is videotaping
at
this
5 a.m.
and he's like telling the police officers, he's like, whoa, guys, what are you doing? We're like, why are you detaining him? And the cops are like, move back. And then this proceeded to turn into one of the most epic days on social media from a like meme standpoint,
like from a funny
perspective standpoint that you'll ever see, because it's not just some random tournament during the year. It's the PGA Championship, and he's the number 1 player in golf, and he just got arrested. And oh, by the way, now he's playing. He just birdied his first hole. What is happening?
So Ricky Fowler said when he heard the news, he thought it was fake.
Everybody did.
As we all know, Scotty is not exactly someone you'd expect to be getting in trouble with the law.
Dude, it was
And
insane.
then I saw video and photo proof. Now, here's the thing. This is how, I mean, he's scheduled to be arraigned. He could be a PGA champion on Sunday. He will be arraigned in Louisville, as we know it currently, on Tuesday. There isn't a world, because this is how it works with, I mean, come on. There's not a world where he's going to end up being tried for a felony in Louisville. There's just no world. If there's a misdemeanor that comes out of this, maybe. And clearly, I mean, I'm sure there's evidence to suggest the charges that have been filed against him. True. You don't just, but also some of this is a little, I would just say this, and I don't know all the particulars of what happened other than the Darlington back and forth, but like some of this is a little bit like, what exactly transpired that he was then forcefully removed from his vehicle and then shoved up against his vehicle and handcuffed? And I don't know. I guess we'll learn that. But again, he's got 4 charges against him. Like, that's a felony charge is a significant charge.
So my good buddy who will be at the wedding, you'll meet him. He's a cop,
right?
And so his perspective on things, and I can say this, it's fine. He goes like, yeah, literally day 1 of being a cop, the talking point is you don't hold on to a car. Probably guarantee the cop was trying to direct traffic. Scheffler had no clue what was going on.
Right.
It was in the rain, dark after just a fatal accident. That
someone else
happened.
may have been, they said, maybe waving him in when the other person was saying stop.
Yeah, probably a cop that's new on the scene.
Right.
Cop freaked out. Yeah. And definitely overreacted.
Sure, I didn't know who it was. Clearly, they didn't know it was Scotty Scheffler in the moment.
Right. But just the what happened afterwards with him shooting a 66, birdieing the first hole after he just got released from jail. I don't think this is like too crazy to say. It's one of the more impressive like sporting accomplishments that in recent memory.
It seems like
he had all that time in the holding cell to focus himself.
Well,
it's like a meditation retreat.
Let's hear from him. So this is after his round, and I watched this entire press conference. The part that was surreal about this is how like calm he was. I mean, he was like, I can't answer anything related to me ending up detained. And then for 15 minutes, he answered every single question about him being detained.
That plays into him on the golf course and how good he
Yeah,
is,
he's so
because you
calm.
need to be like kind of even keeled, and if you let things get to you, it can just completely destroy your entire day of golf.
My guess is his lawyer is like, dude, don't worry about
You're
it.
fine.
Everything's gonna be
100%.
fine.
And that is true. So this was Scotty Scheffler after his round. I mean, this guy could be the favorite to win at Valhalla this weekend. He's 3 strokes back. He's the number 1 golfer in the world. He shoots to 66. Here he is describing the chaos of today.
I don't really know. I feel like my head's still spinning. I can't really explain what happened this morning. I did spend some time stretching in a jail cell. That was a first for me. That was part of my warm up. I was just sitting there waiting, and I started going through my warm up. I felt like there was a chance I may be able to still come out here and play, and so I started going through my routine. I tried to get my heart rate down as much as I could today, but like I said, I still feel like my head's spinning a little bit. But I was fortunate to be able to make it back out and play some golf today.
I mean, some of the things that we're seeing on social media, John, I just never thought I would see this for Scotty Scheffler ever. Like, there is a graphic of him at the podium talking, and it says, PGA Championship, Scotty Scheffler. It has the USA flag to say what country he's from. And then right below it, it says arrested this morning at 6:01 a.m. Eastern time. And they also showed a shot of Scotty at the podium. And then to his left is video of him getting arrested in the morning.
Right.
And then he's talking about shooting 66 and warming up and stretching in a jail cell. Like, dude, this is one of those all-time, like, what the hell moments in sports.
I mean, what it is the biggest win the PGA has had in a while, because all of a sudden, whatever they were expecting to do in terms of viewership for this major, the PGA Championship, is your Friday ratings are going to be through the roof. If Scotty Scheffler is around, which he will be, because he's already just 3 shots off the pace to start Saturday. So that becomes, it's just compelling. And that happens a lot now in sports. I feel like where the NFL and the NBA have separated from these other sports, Major League Baseball,
they don't need a major like controversy to have viewers.
But everything is controversial. Everything happens both on field and off it. With the NFL, everything is a story. With the NBA, everything is a story. Everything is a meme. You never get it with baseball. You did with Ohtani. You never get it with golf. You did today with Scotty Scheffler. And guess what the result is? More eyeballs, more viewers. And now the circumstance that played out today, we've said it multiple times. Obviously, that's terrible. There was a fatality earlier today. It has nothing to do with Scotty Scheffler. No. It's separate to that circumstance. And again, that's a terrible circumstance that played out. But we know how this is what happens. Maybe it's not just in the U.S., but I feel like whenever there's a sideshow, that's a big win for the show itself.
The things that were happening on social media today, one of the tweets that I saw that I just lost it. And someone tweeted out, imagine getting thrown into the drunk tank last night after hitting the bars in Louisville.
Yeah.
And you wake up and you see Scotty Scheffler as your cellmate.
Is that
like,
is
what?
that Scotty?
He's like stretching, watching.
Yeah. Is that Scotty Scheffler?
And then someone else tweeted out, Scotty's last 6 starts.
Yeah.
Win, tied for second, win, prison.
That is amazing.
Like,
that is amazing.
Dude, it's so it's funny, but it's also not funny. And it also, like you said, puts way more eyeballs on this tournament and him, and it elevates him. And this shouldn't be the reason why, like, elevates Scotty with, like, the casual fan.
But it gives him a little bit of cred.
A little bit,
yeah. It would be one of those things where, I couldn't pick him out of a lineup because I don't watch golf.
He's the most average looking person.
But if I woke up
Right.
in the drunk tank and, like, Sports Center was on and I look up and see him and then look over.
I'm in
Louisville.
You're in Louisville.
Like, that's the same guy.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this now. What is more likely, that he wins it or he falls off and plays poorly? What's more likely? He doesn't contend or he wins it?
Ask me after tomorrow.
Well, no, but that's half of the story.
I know it is.
I would say it's more likely he wins it. He's that good. He's been the best golfer. He had a great round. Now, I thought Ryan Harrington made a great point. There's so much adrenaline. It's like sports in general. You can play well for a day or 2 or 3. What do you do over the course of a week or 2 or 3? Now, this is a day or 2 or 3. Can he back up a 66 with another 66 tomorrow? Again, I don't think you put it past him based on what happened here today.
Because also, like you made a good the adrenaline part of it. Golf is the most mental game there is.
Right.
And you're not really thinking that much out there if your like mind is elsewhere with you just getting arrested.
No doubt.
You're not like thinking like, okay, I got to hit this shot really well. You're probably like, what the hell just happened to me this morning? And like, you just swing and you're good to go. And it's like, okay, like you're not totally invested in the round. So it becomes easier for you to not like trip up because you're thinking too much about the round.
Well, what's interesting though is like, he was like, I was like visibly shaking throughout different parts of the day. Golf's not the type of game you want to be shaking to perform to your best. But he did say getting inside those white lines actually was like a good thing. He thought for him considering what played out.
And by the way, he won the Masters while at any moment his wife could have gone into labor.
That's right. And he said he would have left the tournament, obviously.
His caddy was the only person allowed on the course to have a cell phone on him because you're not allowed to bring your cell phones on the course at Augusta. And his caddy got an exemption because if there was a moment that he got a call for his wife to go into labor, then they would have known right away.
So she has since given birth between the Masters and between the PGA Championship. It's only 1 month.
Right.
They just had a child within the last,
couple
10
weeks.
to 15 days, whatever, 10 or 20 days. And then this has transpired on the other side. So you went from Masters champion, where your wife potentially was going to give birth during that weekend, to now everything that's transpired at Valhalla. Now that's a month, man. Masters championship, birth of your firstborn, and arrested.
I mean, there are so many funny memes out there. It's like Scotty Scheffler from the green jacket to the orange jacket.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah.
There was also somebody on the course that morning, and this morning, and they did it in like, I mean, this is record time in
they had
they had his mugshot already
t-shirts.
On t-shirts out
by the
there.
time he was off the course.
Yeah.
He was high-fiving someone. He high-fived someone that was wearing his mugshot t-shirt.
Like
I don't think he woke up today thinking he'd have a mugshot t-shirt when he drove in
mugshot
at 5 a.m. in Louisville.
Second round of the PGA Championship. I'm going to go out there and play a great round. It's the best round at any major. Second round
of his career.
Best second round at any major of Scotty Scheffler's career.
And this is a guy that's already won multiple majors.
Like there's also another one that Darren sent me that during the show today. Scotty Scheffler showed a list of all of his second rounds at majors. It said the year, the location, what he shot, and then the final column was like went to prison, and every other one's like no, and then the top one today, yes.
I want to get back to the Padres for a moment because since Scheffler has won a Masters, been arrested, and had a child, Xander Bogaerts does not have a hit with men in scoring position.
Is that good?
Think about that. I think it's actually accurate.
That's good.
You'd have to go back to April. I think this is right. We talked about it yesterday.
Oh, April 26th.
You'd have to go back to April 26th. The Masters, I think, was over by then. Yes, it was. You'd have to go back to April 26th, the last time Xander Bogaerts had a hit with men in scoring position. We just had a situation play out. The Padres have really had some decent sequences and at-bats today against Max Fried. They've had a number of hits. They haven't scored. They trail 1-0. It's only the third inning. The game is far from over. Manny Machado just had a really good at-bat. There were men on first and third with 2 outs. He fell behind. He drew a walk. And then the next batter is Xander Bogaerts, and he weakly grounds out to second base. Padres are only trailing 1-0. They could win this game 10-1. I have no idea. But when, guys? I mean, they're playing this sport every single day. When is Xander going to come through? Manny, again, I'm not going to, he drew a walk in a tough spot. So I'm not going to criticize that. He did a nice job.
Why is he looking for a walk
please, someone, again, Max Fried's great, but someone do something to get out of this absurd slump.
That was the first pitch swinging there, huh?
Was it?
Yeah.
He just weakly hit the ball to second.
Again, I'm not going to, for a team that has been pretty good with aggressiveness at the plate, swinging at first pitches, and I think they've done pretty well this year. I'm not going to sit there here and say, like, why are you swinging at the first pitch?
Well, with Xander, who cares? He's not going to walk.
What I will say, because there is a distinction here that I think it's not clicking with the Padres. And what I mean by the Padres is, Mike Schilt is the process compared to the result. And if you want to talk to me all day about the process, well, it was a good pitch. I'm glad he swung at it. What happened after he swung at it? Did it result in runs or did it not result in runs? And if it did not result in runs, then I don't give a crap about the process. Like, I don't care that you did this in the game. that you might deem to be a positive. Did you win it or did you lose it? You could have the worst series ever. You could have 20 errors. You could walk 30 dudes. And if you win the series, I'm not going to be coming out of this series and be like, yes, I will say you need to clean it up if you go that far. But you also are going to say, I will take that in a heartbeat because they won the series.
Kevin said earlier when we had him on, he's like, hey, the Braves sluggers have really struggled. Yeah, but the other side of the coin, he mentioned it. Well, they're 26-14.
They've won.
They're 26-14. By the way, the reason you can never take exception to Xander Bogaerts swinging first pitch is he hasn't walked since like the Clinton consecutive plate appearances without walking. He's not going to walk.
No.
So who cares when he swings? He ultimately will swing. He'll either put the ball in play or he's going to strike out. He hasn't walked in forever. So he is now hitless with men in scoring position going back to April 26th. We're pushing a month, guys. We're pushing a month.
And that was a big moment.
Without Xander Bogaerts coming through with men in scoring position. That's, again, it's Max Fried. He's good. There's no question. But at some point, you're going to have to come through in a big spot. Someone, please. Do something. It's like that do something meme.
Just like poking. Just like do something.
And maybe tonight is the night because they've had 4 hits and 3 innings off Fried. They've had base runners all night long. Maybe tonight is the night. Or maybe not.
And the numbers for the first month plus with runners in scoring position were really good.
Yep.
But they're kind of taking all that goodwill that they had for the first month and kind of regressing back down closer to 2023 because of how bad this team has been with runners in scoring position the last couple of weeks here.
Right. So eliminate the words kind of. Yes. Because it feels like in May, they've been among the worst in baseball. I'd be surprised if they're not bottom 5 in baseball in May.
And it's like you were 7-3 in the month on Monday, and it's like now you're staring down the barrel of like
7-7,
500 months so far. And it's like, I don't know, man. It's frustrating because we all lived through last year, and I know baseball is the sport of it's a long season, but like again, no one wants to hear it. Nobody cares. People, they want urgency. They want performance. They want better play. They want winning. They want wins.
Also, when's the last time they scored? And they may win this game. It's 1-0 in the third inning, but they didn't score Wednesday.
Tuesday, John.
And what was the inning in which they scored? Like, how many innings are we at? Because they went 9 innings Wednesday. They've gone 3 innings today. They're probably a couple innings on. I mean, you're pushing 15 innings or so without scoring a run.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, and they scored late Tuesday because they came back and lost 6-3. They scored in like the 7th or 8th inning, I think, on Tuesday. But it's been a minute, and they had an off day in there, so it has been a minute since they've scored. We'll keep you updated. Padres and Braves underway, 4-game series. It's 1-0 Atlanta right now in the bottom of the third inning. On the other side, what did we think of EA Sports releasing its 2024 college football video game trailer? We'll react to that next. All right, it's been a decade in the making, and it's almost here. Plus Jim's back page next.
This update is brought to you by the California Department of Public Health. Padres Braves, game one of their 4-game series. Braves currently lead 1-0, top of the 4th inning there. The PGA Championship second round has concluded. Xander Schauffele leads the tournament at 12 under. Colin Morikawa is 11 under par. And Scotty Scheffler, after his crazy day getting arrested in the morning, he is at 9 under par after shooting a 66 today. What does it take to take on Alzheimer's? Courage to learn the facts and know the signs, and confidence to talk to your healthcare provider about screenings and early detection. Find out how you can take on Alzheimer's at takeonalz.com. California Department of Public Health.
Red Shoe Day coming May 22nd, benefiting Ronald McDonald House Charity San Diego. Proceeds stay here in San Diego, directly supporting our families. Funds raised during Red Shoe Day support lodging, meals, emotional support, and family day services provided by the House at no cost to families. Our iHeart team for Red Shoe Day will be collecting donations at the intersection of Balboa Avenue and Ruffin Road this upcoming Wednesday, May 22nd, from 7 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Padres have out-hit the Braves tonight. They've kind of had some success against Max Fried. They made him work 5 hits through 4 innings, but the issue is they haven't scored. They trail right now, as you just said, 1-0. Early-ish. In the game, I mean.
It's always early till it's not early.
It's true.
And then it becomes late.
So, okay, this morning, I was with my son at 7:55 a.m.
That's great.
I saw on social media while you were sleeping.
Yes, I was still
that the
out.
EA Sports college football trailer was being released at 7:55 a.m. So I actually grabbed Jones and said, "Hey, watch this with me live." And we watched the trailer play out. And it's like this 2-minute trailer, and it's something that college football fans have been waiting for like a decade, because this game hasn't existed since 2014. So you fast forward 10 years, and we're in this whole new era. In fact, I talked to Sean Lewis last night. No big deal.
Oh, must be nice.
And he said, the one thing I said, hey, the guy's excited for the video game.
He tweeted about it today.
And then his eyes lit up. He's like, everyone wants to be in the game.
Yeah.
They're all excited. They're all going to be in the game.
Uh-huh.
They can't wait for the game. So everyone wants to be in the game. So we're inching closer.
Except for Arch Manning.
It's in the game.
Exactly. But so everyone wants to be in the game. We saw the trailer.
Dude.
Now, we didn't see SDSU.
No.
We saw a couple of Mountain West programs, Wyoming and Boise State.
I didn't expect to see.
Well, we didn't see Boise State. We saw their field.
I know. I didn't expect to see some of the stuff. I saw App State was in there. Wyoming was in there. But overall, I thought it was pretty cool to watch play out.
I'm sure for every school, they'll have like a special. Because remember when?
I hope so.
Because remember when the announcement of it happened, every single school football
put
Twitter
out
a like we're in the game. So I feel like they're going to be putting out something
still shots
or something.
My guess would be, because this is what they do with like WWE games every year, is they'll release, here's the 50 guys on the roster. And it's like, here's the Rock's entrance for this year. And they'll release everyone's entrance before the game comes out. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, here's, the walk through the hall at Notre Dame, and here's Clemson and the Rock, and here's Florida when they do the thing with the gator head in the locker room. I think they might release all of the traditions or whatever as like a separate thing.
So they'll have the honorary Aztec for the game, probably with
maybe
the spear, and then you have San Diego State running out at Snapdragon.
Yeah,
that dynamic.
There's also the way they come through the locker room now.
I would bet you that they will have that in the game.
Yeah, I hope so.
So, couple features on the game here, John.
Yeah,
which takes this to the next level. I mean, it's one thing to just like buy the game and just play regular games here, or play regular opponents or whatever. Some features of the game: Dynasty mode.
That's all I ever play.
Create a coach, take control, upgrade their abilities, and build a powerhouse college football program. You establish your coaching staff, and you work to recruit the best talent, either straight from high school or direct from the transfer portal. Take your team to the next level on Online Dynasty, where up to 32 players can compete against each other on and off the field.
Okay.
Next up, the road to glory. You can live the life of a student athlete with your creative player and take home the Heisman as you build an unforgettable college football legacy. Manage your weekly schedule, GPA, and your image. Earn coach trust to get more playing time, or use the transfer portal to get the time and the glory you deserve. Finally, team builder. You can create your own college football program with customization tools on the Team Builder website. Design uniforms, helmets, fields, and upload your own logo.
Oh, wow.
You can then upload your program to use in the Play Now and Dynasty. You can check out the Download Center to browse teams created by the entire community. You can learn more about the Team Builder later this summer. Team Builder content can be used in offline play, now in private Dynasty modes, blah, 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 blah. But like that to me is enough to buy the game.
Well, here's the issue. You can buy the game, Jim, but you can't play the game. You want to know why? Because you have to have a PlayStation or an Xbox. But here's the other thing. I want to see the Aztec helmets. Well, that's the thing for me.
They're going to look like the Aztec helmet.
That's what's going to be dope. And the Aztec helmet oftentimes is regarded as like as good of a helmet as there is in FBS football. So that to me is going to be cool to see. But that is cool that you can like literally import your own. It could be like a John and Jim helmet. You can have like a John and Jim FBS
what's cool
team.
is they're implementing the transfer portal, the NIL.
You kind of have to, right?
Yeah, it's
dominating the sport.
Because if it's in the game, it's in the game.
It's dominating the sport.
And finally, one of the cool features of the game is that the commentators,
that's what I was gonna say,
in the game are going to be all different. So for big time matchups, I don't know what a big time matchup would consist of.
What that means is if you get what would be like the Saturday night
ABC,
ESPN or
Ohio State,
ABC
Michigan,
or
football
like the prime time, the bigger name games,
big time bowl games. Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit.
Very cool.
Then for all other games,
right?
Reese Davis, Jesse Palmer, David Pollock, which I think is pretty cool because it's going to make you feel like when Kirk Herbstreit and Fowler are on
it's
the
going
call,
to feel like a big deal because you don't get the same.
I want like
teams.
20 broadcast teams. I want Beth Mowens. I want Jason Benetti. I want Kevin Brown. I want every broadcast team. I want it to, if it's in the game,
it's in the game.
These guys, but it's cool. It's coming out in July. The trailer's available.
July 16th.
all 134 FBS teams, including San Diego State. Now, again, I don't know anything about video games. You know stuff about video games, but don't have a video game system.
I don't play video games.
Brent has a PS5.
Yeah, I'm ready to go,
and he's ready to go.
I might have to again.
It's only $500. You're fine. You have the wedding will be over, so you'll probably be loaded by then.
One of the biggest things about why I don't play video games anymore is because I know that if I started to play video games
you'll be
again,
addicted. You'll never do anything else.
You lost me.
Well, it's hard to imagine that you could it might interfere with your prep for the show, but you're not preparing.
I'm like John, I need to finish up this schedule.
There you go. It's $410, so you can get the game and the system for under $500.
Honestly, I think Aaron will kill you.
She won't kill me, but if I'm like, hey babe, I need to play,
just be like, hey, I bought a Blu-ray player today.
Yeah, I'm trying to recruit this kid from Texas.
Right.
It also plays PlayStation games, but it's a Blu-ray player.
Right.
I'm trying to recruit the #1 overall player, and the NIL money that I have isn't enough. So I need to go out and I need to go to the boosters and I need to get more money for this recruit because he's the #1 overall ranked quarterback. It's so funny because in the game, like when I used to play it, the old school version of the game, I would always go after the #1 recruit and it'd be like San Diego State. And then it would be like Oklahoma, Texas,
Michigan,
Alabama, Michigan, or like if you played as I don't know, Toledo, right? You're like, I'm going after the #1 overall recruit in the class.
I think it'll be fine though, because it's not like Aaron has to deal with you doing like a wrap-up show every night.
Correct.
So let's say you do 6 straight wrap-up shows, but then you have like a Thursday night off. You could just play video games all night. That would be, I think she'd appreciate it.
By the time I'm done with the wrap-up show, she's sleeping
so
anyway.
You can just go from like 11 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's
you
fine.
can get no sleep and
just wait till she sleeps and then just sneak off.
Yeah, sneak off in the night and go play some video games and we're good to go.
Will you buy this
she'll
game?
probably think you're like on drugs. I'm like, oh no, I'm just playing video games.
Brent, you're buying this game day one or no?
Yeah, I'll get it day one. I'll pre-order it. I'm not going to get the super duper edition
Brent.
because I'm not paying $100 for it.
Super duper edition.
Yeah, we'll go over there. We'll hang out with Peanut.
I do
Boom.
think
I'll sit on the bed because it's the only
we'll
piece of
sit on
furniture I
Brent's bed.
have.
It'll be very normal.
You'll need to honestly, like seriously, one day you'll need to bring in your PS5 so
Is
we
that
can
easy
at
or
least
hard?
play it.
It's not hard. It's
You have to unplug everything. And
well,
like, your setup
it'll just be annoying. It's like the heaviest system they've made in like 10
really?
years. Yeah.
because
Put it this way, the PS4 was like super light to where it's like, oh, this is awesome. And then when I bought the 5, I was like, wow, I need to lift weights just to move this thing around.
because we'll probably get Sean Lewis maybe in studio one of these days again, right?
You want to play against Sean Lewis?
I mean,
That's what he
Well,
did to
who
him.
knows? Maybe we could get some sort of tournament going.
I mean,
Didn't he like win over recruits before by playing
Madden? Yeah,
Madden?
yeah.
Yeah, it's
He
pretty
played
cool.
them in Madden and won them over.
That
So
is
we
pretty cool.
need to play with Sean Lewis a little bit of college football EA Sports 25.
Buy a system.
Well, one person on the show already has a system.
True. Good point. On the other side, Jim's back page next. So imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt free, no credit cards, no car loan, no personal loan. Hey guys, it's Schaefer, and Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly with Loan Pronto's AI-based system, and you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home, and you can use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. That's crazy money. Listen, your home value is way up, and you can use that to wipe out all those credit cards, get some money for home improvement, literally hundreds of thousands at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. Here's the number to call. You can do it right now. 619-207-4336, 619-207-4336, or loanpronto.com. Again, 619-207-4336, and subject to lender approval, equal housing lender. Padres behind Matt Waldron, who's been really good, are now leading Max Fried, who's been really good this year, 2-1. Baseball.
Ultimately,
It's
that's
just fun.
baseball.
Padres against heavy underdogs, leading Atlanta 2-1 in the fifth inning and threatening for more.
Yeah.
And they've taken now a 3-1 lead on another Manny Machado. Well, almost double play.
But still, they're just a much, much better, more confident road team by far.
They should just play all games on the road, like the Savannah Bananas, who don't play all their games on the road. But
they're a pretty good draw too. I think that
I'm sure
in Bill Shaken's article the other day talking about the Padres and their attendance, they're like I think the second best attendance on the road in baseball.
That is interesting.
Yeah, 31,000 people.
Yeah, it's interesting.
You can't. I don't know, man. It's weird. This team's not good at home, and they're really good on the road. And by really good, I don't mean like they're the best team ever, but they just play much better baseball.
Well, if they win tonight, it's a long way to go. They lead 3-1. They would be 13-8 on the road. That's a darn good record. That's got to be top 3 in baseball winning percentage wise. 13-8,
probably.
That's got to be right up there. All right, let's get to it.
So yesterday at Dodger Stadium, John, was the big Shohei Ohtani bobblehead giveaway night. First 40,000 fans got a Shohei Ohtani bobblehead.
Did you make it in time?
No, I did not make it in time.
Oh.
That's why John really left early yesterday.
And
I got 2. Don't worry.
The bobblehead. Well, if you got 2, John, I would sell them right now.
How much?
Because on eBay,
you're gonna get yours next Saturday.
A Shohei Ohtani bobblehead is selling for $5,000. I'm not kidding.
Was it bought for $5,000 or is it selling for $5,000?
It's selling for it's on eBay right now, $5,000 or best offer.
I think that's more of a knock on Dodgers fans that they think they're dumb enough that they would pay that much for a bobblehead.
Right, like that's not an auction though, so that's a buy it now. Isn't someone's still got to buy it? I could charge right now $5,000 to listen to this show, but somebody's got to pay that.
But it's multiple people that are charging.
Gotcha.
A bunch of money for this bobblehead.
That's
and
crazy.
It's one of those like special Japanese anime bobbleheads where it's the Shohei Ohtani bobblehead, but the boxing is all Japanese anime.
Okay.
I saw pictures too last night of the Dodger Stadium. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, I know Shohei Ohtani is really good, but come on, give me a break.
Like right here, there's something with 15 bids on it on eBay for this bobblehead. That's at $203.
That's still a lot of money
it's crazy.
for a bobblehead.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be certainly a few $100s.
No, honestly, the box is cooler than the bobblehead.
It really is. It really is. So a couple weeks ago, one of my stories was McDonald's pricing down their menu items to like $5 to bring back more affordable items at McDonald's. Right now you go to McDonald's, you get a burger and fries and a Coke for like $14. Like that's like that's like maybe cheap at McDonald's. Well, the quote unquote $5 skimpy value deal, John, it's only for 1 month. They're only doing it for 1 month. They're not making it a permanent thing here. They're going to roll it out, $5 combo meal starting June 25th for either a McDouble or a McChicken sandwich that comes with small fries, 4 pieces of chicken McNuggets, and a small soft drink. The promotion will be halted at the end of July. So it's going to be happening from June 25th to the end of July, and then it's done. And it's like, what?
Right, because then you're back with the same issue that you're experiencing right now.
Yeah, it's like, do you think everyone's just going to all of a sudden go to McDonald's for 1 month and that's going to be it? Like, no, people want to have those things be affordable at around $5, like for the foreseeable future. Like, I want to go to McDonald's and be like, hey, can I get a burger and fries?
And it's not $20.
And it's not $12.
Right.
Even though I don't really go to McDonald's in the first place, but still, it's not.
Makes sense. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Go there that month, apparently. From June to July, go there.
Anyway,
maybe they know something we don't know. They have an inside tip.
Maybe.
Customers are
inflation's going to end in a month.
Not happy with the
you heard it from Ronald McDonald himself.
The meal deals at McDonald's. And finally, speaking of McDonald's, they are introducing a new McFlurry.
Ooh.
It's called the Grandma McFlurry. You're like, wait a second here. What is a Grandma McFlurry?
Right.
Snickerdoodle cookies.
They're releasing a new McFlurry said to be inspired by and celebrating grandmas on yesterday. McDonald's announced its new Grandma McFlurry to be available for a limited time starting on May 21st. The new McFlurry is made with vanilla soft serve, blended with delicious syrup and chopped pieces of candy, according to McDonald's. The cup is a red, white, and pink cup with a McDonald's sign, and then on the bottom it says XOXO Grandma.
What kind of candy?
Doesn't say. It just says assorted.
What is it?
It's just their chopped up Werther's originals.
Right. Well, the Grandma McFlurry tastes like a trip down memory lane. We're excited to give our fans that experience while honoring the grandma.
It's chopped up Werther's originals and their missing butt and everything else. Grandma's junk ball.
Grandma. What's available?
But only for a month.
Right. Exactly.
It's for a limited time.
All right, hard to believe our week has come to an end. The final week before Jim is a married man. All right. Join us tonight on YouTube for a wrap-up show following Padres and Braves. Padres are leading right now 3-1 in the fifth inning. See if they can hold it. Miss anything today, sportsSD.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Spotify. If you're listening to us on podcast, please leave a review. Find us on social at Jon and Jim. Have a great weekend. For Brent and Jim, I'm Jon. Keep it right here to San Diego Sports 760.
Stop by.
Okay.